Well, if you're hearing some booing, it's not booing. They're just singing Rude's Stretford End to Ruud van Nistelrooy as he comes out from the tunnel in the corner, away to our left, walks along the touchline here in front of us, applauds the fans who obviously love him. One of the very best goal scorers the Premier League has ever seen, and he wore a Manchester United shirt. And it's pretty clear from the things he's said and done since his return on the staff that he's still very much in love with the football club. But big hug for Steve Cooper, and Ruud van Nistelrooy turns around to get on with the job for managing Manchester United for one game. I think it's going to be a bit more than that. Brighton-Liverpool is already underway on Talksport. You can listen to that. It's 0-0 after 15 minutes. Elsewhere, just about to get going in the Carabao Cup. Villa Palace, Preston Arsenal, Newcastle Chelsea. Later at 8:15, Spurs Man City kicks off. Second half commentary of that over on Talksport. Eric Ten Hag was okay with cups. He won this one in his first season, but a sprinkling of domestic cups are not what you judge by at United. It's what's expected. Man United take on Leicester live here on Talksport 2 with League Cup winner Danny Mills alongside your commentator Sam Matface.
Well, he looks the part. Boy, does he look the part. It might be a tenure so brief that it only lasts a couple of nights, but Ruud van Nistelrooy stalked down the touchline wearing a deep navy roll neck, a trench coat and dark slacks, looking $1 million. But he knows that Manchester United can't afford to slip out of the League Cup before the real business starts. But to propel themselves into the quarter-finals, United have to beat a Leicester City team who have given United a fright on recent trips and have had a habit of knocking them out of cup competitions. And although famed in its heyday for its intimidation factor, like the infrastructure around it, it is fortress-like no more. Only 6 times has Old Trafford experienced the joy of winning since February, and it's Halloween tomorrow. So after a frightening start to the season, now for a rude awakening. He may not get the time to bewitch the Manchester United faithful before Amorim turns up, but he has the chance to show he is capable of a few tricks that can deliver a treat tonight. Manchester United red shirts, white shorts, black socks will attack the scoreboard end in this first half at Old Trafford. All blue for Leicester City. 9 changes for them, 4 changes for Manchester United. Zirkzee will lead the line this evening. Rashford will play on the right, Garnacho on the left, and in the 10, Bruno Fernandes. 2 holding midfield players and a back 4, which includes Martinez at left back, and Altay Biandir is in goal for only the 3rd time in Manchester United colours. We're underway. They took their time giving Ten Hag the tin tack, so Van Nistelrooy has just got a couple of shots, but his conversion rate was pretty good when he was in front of goal for Manchester United. Let's find out what it's like live on Talksport 2 when he's in the dugout. Danny Mills is alongside me, a League Cup winner. What sort of reaction are you expecting from Manchester United tonight?
I'm expecting them to be on the front foot. I'm expecting them to play with not abandonment, but more free-flowing. Go out there and express yourselves. I think Ruud van Nistelrooy, the way that obviously he played and the teams that he played for, there's no real pressure on him. He knows he's not in for the job, on a long-term basis. It might be 1 game, it might be 4, as we've just talked about, but it's going to be very, very temporary for him. And so I think he'll want to do his credentials decent, but yeah, by not getting battered. Don't go out there and play for the sake of it, but actually put on some performances that you'd expect from Manchester United.
High press on from Ugarte, who shuts down Skip, who receives the ball from Danny Ward, who is the Leicester City goalkeeper tonight. He picked the ball up on the edge of his 18-yard area, the new signing Skip, and then was charged down by Ugarte, and the ball spilt out for a throw-in in the right full-back position under the lights here at Old Trafford. There is a sprinkling of rain in the air. There's a moistness to the atmosphere. The pitch newly mown, and Manchester United have possession on halfway with the rather scruffy-looking Matthias de Ligt. I always think that he would probably fit in well down in some sort of surf shack down on the Cornwall coast, Matthias de Ligt, and he was very, very upset when a penalty was given against him on Sunday afternoon. Deep ball into the Leicester half, over the head of Casey McAteer, who just about readjusts to head it clear on this near touchline. It's picked up by Ugarte and sent wide towards the right-hand side. Now it's collected by Garnacho. Garnacho comes forward. He's got Justin and De Cordova-Reid doubling up on him, so he goes back to halfway, and it's into the possession of Victor Lindelof, the Swede, just in front of the centre circle. Ruud van Nistelrooy never completed a full season as the manager of PSV Eindhoven. He delivered a return to the Champions League, won the Dutch Cup, but fell out with the players and his staff and left before the season ended. Oddly enough, one of those staff members was Fred Rutten, who was an ally of Erik ten Hag. But it's interesting to watch him in the technical area already, Danny, jumping up and down, gesticulating, looking very composed and dapper, and giving his clear instructions to his Manchester United team.
Well, you only think he looks amazing because he's been in your wardrobe. I think he's borrowed one of your Rolex, that is for sure. Although he wears it slightly better than you. Yeah. But no, it's clearly, you can tell that they're trying to be on the front foot. They're looking to go in behind. I've noticed that a lot this season already. With a lot of Premier... We've all been used to teams, overplaying at times. There are more teams now looking to go a little bit more direct. We've just seen it there. Not quite an old school stick one down the channel, but more teams are prepared to play the ball in behind or hit a long diagonal to try and spread the play a little bit quicker.
It's because so many teams are playing with these really high lines, and Leicester doing that, and Conor Coady just switched off, and that allowed Garnacho to get in on that left-hand side. The line was just a little bit ragged from Leicester. Luke Thomas tussles with Rashford. It comes back to De Ligt. He fires it into Dalot, who's still probably getting over his own Halloween nightmare of missing that chance on Sunday down at West Ham. I've seen it from a different angle, actually, from a player's sort of perspective cam. It's even worse then. I feel so sorry for him. That is going to haunt him for a long time. Here is El Canous into centre field and skip, and then back out to Thomas, and then all the way back to Samari on halfway for Leicester City. 0-0, we've played 3.5 minutes.
I think we have to remember that Leicester are also playing here this evening, aren't we?
Yeah.
we have been very Manchester United orientated, obviously. It's a huge story. Van Nistelrooy taking over, Erik ten Hag getting sacked. But Steve Cooper needs a win as well. Leicester need some confidence. They need to start picking points up in the Premier League, and winning a game here this evening would do wonders for their confidence.
Here is De Cordova-Reid down the right side, wrestling with De Ligt. The ball goes out of play and away for a goal kick away to our left. They're not in sparkling form, but you wouldn't expect a side just promoted to be in superlative form, but they have achieved what the other two promoted sides haven't, and that is they've won a Premier League game so far. In fact, they've got 3 wins across the 11 games this season, and did have 2 back-to-back before they lost against Nottingham Forest on Friday night. Steve Cooper, he too is in the technical area down below us. And I think everybody thought that they would go straight back down, but I think they look the better equipped of those who have been promoted so far to the Premier League to stay in the division, Dan.
I noticed you didn't comment on Steve's Cooper attire. But no, I think Leicester have done okay.
He hasn't changed his attire.
No, that's true.
Ruud van Nistelrooy has.
I think, I tell you what I'm surprised at, though, how quiet the crowd is.
Yeah. Really
surprised. Being there's probably lots of kids here because it's half term, and you expect a little bit more of a higher pitched atmosphere at times. But new manager, not really hearing too much from the crowd getting behind him so far.
Let's see what happens. 5 and a bit minutes gone. You're listening to Talksport. Manchester United 0, Leicester City 0. Leicester have brought a contingent with them away to our right, around about 2,500 with them this evening that have come up the motorway network. It's only about 2.5 bit hours to Leicester. Here is Ugarte out to the near side, and in his own half is Matthijs de Ligt. Strides up towards halfway, gives it to Dalot. Dalot back to De Ligt. Casemiro wearing gloves tonight, Danny.
Yes,
you've already called somebody up for having a heater. You better get down that tunnel afterwards and have a word with the Brazilian.
I tell you what, it's very, very mild, isn't it? Very mild. Played golf yesterday in a t-shirt in the end of October.
Oh, a slip by Coady, and Xerxes got in behind. He's faced up by Akoli. He beats him and goes into the penalty area. Well, he should have prodded that out towards the left where Garnacho was waiting, and he couldn't quite manage to pull that off. But
just look at the body language. Sorry, Sam. Just look at the body language of Garnacho, though. Annoyed, disappointed. It's not a great look, is it? Okay, Xerxes should have done better. He wasn't particularly confident. The touch was poor. But Garnacho's body language is like slumped shoulders. I can't believe you've done that, rather than go chasing after the ball.
Here is Garnacho again on the far side. He's a yard in from the left touchline, goes infield and finds Casemiro. Dalot tries to make an out-to-in run into the box, but it goes wider onto Rashford, who's on the right wing, sends a cross into the box, takes a deflection off Thomas, and goes out for the first corner of the game. It's a Manchester United corner.
I'm just a little bit surprised Manchester United haven't started a little bit quicker, haven't been a little bit more on the front foot, tried to get the crowd going. That has been the first thing I'd have said if I was Ruud van Nistelrooy. Get this crowd behind you.
Well, he walked down the touchline, fist pumping and trying to raise the atmosphere, didn't he? Short corner taken quickly, given to Dalot and then on to Fernandes. Fernandes sends it to Rashford, who's in a lot of space, tries to slip it back down the right channel, looking for Fernandes. It's cut out by De Cordova-Reid, and then it's cleared away towards to the edge of the penalty area. Went towards halfway and then back again, and then Leicester almost outfoxed themselves and gave the ball back to Manchester United. 7.5 gone. Manchester United went out at this stage last season. Leicester have already gone beyond what they achieved last year when they had bigger things on their mind, like promotion, but still gave a good account of themselves actually at Liverpool in the third round before eventually going out. And tonight a place in the quarterfinals is up for grabs.
So, sometimes you've got to raise the crowd from being on the pitch, players on the pitch doing that. You know, it needs to be someone just have a run, have a shot, have a long shot, put a big tackle in, whatever it might be. But give the crowd something to get on their feet about. Give them something to get behind you. Give them some energy. It's very subdued at the moment. The players on the pitch, and that transfers to the crowd. And it's almost like everybody's waiting for something to happen. No one wants to make it happen.
Well, Manchester United made quite a lot happen in the first half against West Ham, but they'll need to be more clinical than they were at the London Stadium. They were wasteful in the extreme in that first 45 minutes. And then sloppy defensively against the West Ham team that had also been struggling. Crystal Palace lead Aston Villa by a goal to nil. Elsewhere on Talksport tonight, Brighton 0, Liverpool 0, Manchester United 0, Leicester 0, Newcastle 0, Chelsea 0, Preston 0, Arsenal 0, Tottenham Man City. 8:15 start, and coming up a little bit later, the second half of that game on Talksport. Here is De Cordova-Reid, giving it to Samare, then releasing it out towards the right-hand side, taken on by Justin, who tries to fire it out towards Ayew on this near side. Didn't reach him, but has come back to McAteer. McAteer then sends it onto Ayew, now left side of the area, tries to bend one in towards the middle of the goal, but it's an easy catch and pat down by Altay. And then he bowls out quickly, and Manchester United have got 4. The wrong side of the ball was Leicester a concern, and the ball from Fernandes was straight out to Garnacho. Fernandes has got up to help him after it went just a little bit wide. He tried to play a return down the left-hand side, but Skip was alert to it. He then threw himself to the floor under little pressure from Garnacho, and it is going to be a free kick right side of the area, and it remains 0-0. But that's the kind of thing I was expecting from this team tonight, that when Manchester United were in their own half, they would leave those 4 up the pitch, because Garnacho and Rashford don't like doing the defensive work anyway, so you might as well give them extra protection and then license to attack like that.
So therefore you would think they would be quicker in transition, but so far they've been very, very slow. It's been quite sluggish, their play so far. I think what it does say is, you can see from a lot of these Manchester United players, there's a complete lack of confidence and self-belief at the moment. They're not zipping the ball around. It's almost, they're having that extra touch just to try and not give the ball away, and of course that slows the game down dramatically.
Good work by Ugarte, starting to settle into Manchester United. Turns and fires it to Casemiro, elevates it over the halfway line. Rashford nods it back to Dalot. It's a bit behind him. The grass looks as if it's been newly laid, doesn't it? The grass. I think it's just been...
I always say here, Sam, the pitch was never amazing here. It was always a little bit, sometimes a bit too lush. The grass was a bit too long at times. You know, back when I played here, it was like, you know, one of the best stadiums, not the best in the country at the time. But the pitch never quite lived up to that, and it looks a little bit similar this evening. You're right; it does look like it's not been put down that long.
Here is Okoli up to halfway, onto Samari, who turns it round the corner. There's a gap there for Ayew to work. He then works it onto the right-hand side to De Cordova-Reid as Leicester come on the attack down the right. Funneling out from the centre-back position into the left full-back area to tidy up for United was Matthijs de Ligt, and he nudges it out for a throw-in level with the edge of the penalty area. Listening to Talksport, we played 11 and a bit minutes. It's been pretty sedate stuff so far, nothing to get the pulse racing, but no damage done for either team so far as well. Ball thrown in by Justin into the penalty area, headed away by Casemiro, picked up by Alessandro Martinez, and then taken long and upfield by Garnacho into the feet of Fernandes, and then it's smuggled out of play over on the far side. Look, Steve Cooper arrived in June after Enzo Maresca left to join Chelsea. You don't usually walk in the door and inherit a successful team, and one with such a distinct style, but Steve Cooper did that. He had to tweak it for the Premier League. They are a team that are only 2 points behind Manchester United in the league this season, although that might say more about Manchester United than it does about Leicester. Here is El Kanous, picked up in the summer, apparently a star in the making. Links with Samare, he tries to feed McAteer. McAteer almost robbed Dallow of the ball, in fact did eventually, and then couldn't sort his feet out to find a pass with the interception he'd made, and it goes behind for a goal kick away to our left in front of the Stretford end.
Dallow got lucky. What was he trying to do? He was in a good position, he was trying to let the ball run out of play, and then with sort of the outside of his foot or left foot, he just tries to try and pass it a yard to Matthias de Ligt. Sometimes you just got to clear your lines. Can't be trying to play 1-2s like a yard from your own touchline.
0-0. Garnacho up on halfway, runs backwards and then gets pressure from James Justin, who's playing on the right side of defence tonight in the right full-back position. He prefers, I think, playing on the left, but with Luke Thomas available this evening, he's decided to push him into the left full-back position as he did in the previous round.
I don't know why Marcus Rashford doesn't just look to run in behind at some point. All he's doing is looking to feet, and even if he gets the ball, he's got a defender up his backside and he's 10-15 yards inside his own half. What's he going to do from there? We've seen a couple of longer balls early on. What is wrong with dropping 2 or 3 yards short and then spinning and going into the channels? Just let someone play one over the top. Use that pace that he's got.
It's a dreadful throw by Thomas. He's given it straight to Casemiro. Skipper's come from the wrong side and taken the ball away from Casemiro. It looked like a foul. Referee allowed play on. Collected by Coley through the centre circle. He charges forward, does Caleb Coley, and then tries to take the ball out towards the far side. Coley joined from Atalanta in the summer, made his debut in this competition, started every game since, and did so well that he got his first call up to the Italian squad this season. Coley. Ball sent forward towards the halfway line by Leicester. Cody sweeps up as it comes back via Dallow, and it's back with Leicester City inside their own half. 14 minutes played, still 0-0.
Just a quick one, Samuel. No VAR this evening?
No VAR until the semi-final stage. So anything that happens is the referee's call, and no one can change it, Dan. Which Manchester United probably would have liked on Sunday, I would have thought. Martinez, after Casemiro and De Ligt go for the same ball, which is elevated towards the halfway line. It breaks to Martinez, and then he drips the ball into the left channel, looking for the run of Garnacho, takes it out of the sky, level with the edge of the penalty area, takes on Justin, beats him, looks to feed the ball infield. Good little step over by Fernandes, comes back to Casemiro, who sends the ball elegantly into the far corner with a fantastic thunderbolt, which Danny Ward didn't even see. Manchester United lead by a goal to 0 right on the 15-minute mark. The man that scored at West Ham has scored again, but this one is 10 times better. A lovely step over from Fernandes allowed the ball to run to Casemiro, and then he hit it from the left corner of the penalty area into the postage stamp across the goalkeeper in front of the scoreboard end, and it's Manchester United 1, Leicester 0.
Wow, what a strike that is. That's one of the cleanest, best strikes you will see all season long. Absolutely magnificent. It's been very subdued up to this point. It comes back into Casemiro. Touch out of his feet, looks up, and you know what he's doing. You're thinking, he's got no chance. No way he's going to score from there. And he hits an absolute perler. Bend, pace, in off the underside of the bar, makes it look even better. That is an unstoppable strike from Casemiro.
Erik ten Hag, sitting back in his Amsterdam apartment watching this tonight, will be sitting there thinking to himself, hold on a second, I swear on Sunday Diogo Dalot missed from 4 yards out. Bruno Fernandes put one over the bar from 5 yards out. How has Casemiro now just put one in the top corner from 25 yards? Well, when your luck's in, your luck's in. And Ruud van Nistelrooy's luck was in there. 15 minutes gone, Manchester United lead by a goal to 0. It's a worldie.
All right, if Cristiano Ronaldo scores that, we eulogise about that for months. It was that good a strike. It was just absolutely pure. He bent it had the right amount of pace. He didn't try to absolutely leather the spots off the ball. What a strike. Absolutely superb.
Another great touch from Ugarte, who managed to receive the ball, flick it round the back of Samaria and receive his own pass before getting Manchester United to move up the pitch. And then Martinez tried to thread the ball into the left channel and almost reached Garnacho. It's still alive. Martinez pokes it wide towards the right. Rashford keeps it towards the back post, headed back by Garnacho into the centre, but that's going to be Ward's ball. He launches his arms into the air and brings it down into his chest. Manchester United lead by 1-0. Aston Villa behind at Villa Park to Crystal Palace. They've only played 17 minutes in that game. Eberici Eze scored the goal after 8 minutes. Daniel Munoz, who created a really good goal on Sunday for them, has created this one for Eberici Eze as well. And Crystal Palace on top in that game against Aston Villa. On a busy night of Carabao Cup football across the Talksport network. We've got this one live for you on Talksport 2, on Talksport Brighton against Liverpool, and later Tottenham against Manchester City. Game staggered tonight to try and squeeze in as much football as possible.
What I don't understand sometimes, Sam, is Xerxes been a bit part player up to this point, hasn't he? You know, he's probably the number 2 striker. I've not seen him break into a jog yet. It's just wandering around.
I was surprised to see him on the team sheet, Danny.
So this is an opportunity. Go out there, run your heart out. You're probably going to play 60 minutes max this evening. Chase down everything. Run in behind. Even now the ball goes forward to Dalot, and he's not moved more than 3 or 4 yards.
Is that not just his role in the team, because they know his strengths are those dropping in, that sort of languid style where he's almost a bit like Havertz, isn't he? He picks the ball up deep and then brings others into play. We'll discuss it in a minute, but McAteer is on the hunt for Leicester City. He's stabbed the ball down into the left channel and then run into Casemiro. The referee says play on, no foul, and it's gone straight out of play for a goal kick.
But Havertz does that role when he hasn't got the ball. He holds the ball up, he chases down, he chases back. I'm not seeing Xerxes do anything like that so far. It's just wandering around almost. This could be your one and only opportunity to impress. So yeah, if you are that type of player where you drop in deep and that's fine. But when you haven't got the ball, sprint after people, put people under pressure. Make it at least look like you're interested in trying to work hard.
Casey McAteer, by the way, I think caught his studs in the ground, because there was no contact between him and Casemiro, and he went down without any physical contact between the two, and the ball went straight out of play. Anyway, Manchester United have it back on the 18-yard box. They lead by 1-0. Casemiro's second goal of the season, scored at the weekend. A decorated midfield player who's had patchy performances in Manchester United red, and he will be keen to point to some of the big goals that he scored for the club. And that was certainly an impressive one. Caleb Okoli has just been booked for marshalling Bruno Fernandes to the floor. A long ball over the top. The two went into a foot race and Okoli brought him down.
I'm not sure I agree with that. Just about to see the replay. I think that's good defending. He just holds him off.
Bit of shirt holding now?
Yeah, but even still, they're both at it to start with. Bruno Fernandes does it and then lets go, and Okoli is still holding on, but he's got his arm out. That's very, very normal.
Yellow card for Okoli.
I'm not sure that's. You could argue that possibly it's a foul. It's not a yellow card.
Well, it has presented Manchester United with another effort from
Can't believe
Ray.
Casemiro's not on it from that. It's exactly the same spot he just scored from, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It's about 11 yards back from the edge of the penalty area. Maybe a little bit closer than that. Maybe about 9 yards back from the edge of the penalty area. Left of centre. So it's on an angle to the goal. And the right footer, Marcus Rashford, looks as if he is going to take it. He has wiped his brow. He stepped up, right-footed, and it's straight into the wall. And again, it was a little bit of a languid effort, that, wasn't it? There was no sort of conviction behind it as he addressed the ball, ran up to it, and then went to try and strike it over the top of the four-man Leicester City wall. He's got it back again inside the Leicester City half. Into Xerxes, back to Rashford, tries to poke it down to Garnacho. Looked like he was in an offside position to me. And the assistant on the near side is very quick with the flag.
There's a lack of energy, a lack of urgency about Manchester United so far this evening, and I'm really surprised at that. I thought Ruud van Nistelrooy would have them revved up a little bit and say to go out there and impress.
Maybe they're stung, Danny, by the fact that their manager has been given the sack. And they're hurt inside, they're wounded by it.
I doubt it. Having had 20 plus managers in my career.
Yeah, but you're not exactly the most sort of the emotional type. You don't.
I outlasted all the managers.
Yeah, and that's what happens if you've got a 6-year contract the size of Fort Knox.
But I just think it's an opportunity. But none of them seem to really want to grab it and take it so far. And apart from the strike from Casemiro, there's been very little positive about Manchester United.
Yeah, Ugarte's been all right, I think, so far. Although he's just given away a foul. Commentator's curse on Ayew.
But that's the point. You're saying Ugarte's been all right. That's the most positive thing we can find to say about Manchester United this evening. 20 minutes into the game.
Well, there's something much more positive than that, Danny. It's Manchester United 1, Leicester 0. Wow. Free kick to Leicester, then on the edge of the centre circle, Ayew has just collided with Ugarte, who tried to make a tackle from behind. Leicester brought Ayew in the summer. He's one of a number of experienced players that were added to the squad that already had quite a lot of Premier League experience. Decordova-Reid, Oliver Skipp, a bit of flair in Facundo Buonanotte, and the man who's on the free kick, Bilal El Kanous, who was brought in from Genk, played as an attacking midfielder in Belgium. Did very well. He sends the ball up towards the edge of the penalty area, looking for Cody. It's headed out by Lindelof, and it goes out of play and away for a throw midway inside the United half. On the left, Aston Villa have equalised in the game at Villa Park. Villa 1, Crystal Palace 1. And later on tonight, by the way, the Sports Bar on Talksport is open for business, where you'll be able to have your say on all of today's footballing matters. 03717223344 is the number to call. And Matt Lucas is on the Sports Bar tonight.
Arsenal fan, big Arsenal fan.
Yeah. Arsenal have just taken the lead against Preston, he'll be pleased to know, by a goal to nil. Newcastle 1-0 up against Chelsea at St James Park. Here is Ugarte in the centre of midfield for Manchester United, who are leading here by a goal to nil. Under the floodlights on a misty night in Manchester, Greater Manchester. We're in Old Trafford, sandwiched next to a railway line and the canal. And Manchester United have managed to find a way to get themselves on the scoreboard. A long ball forward by Bayendir, the goalkeeper, headed away by James Justin, collected by Lisandro Martinez, and then it goes back to the Argentine, who then taps it into Fernandes. Fernandes to Casemiro. He may be wearing gloves tonight, but he got the gloves off for that strike, didn't he?
It's an incredible strike, and unfortunately it's the only sort of really positive thing that's happened in the game so far, isn't it? It has been very subdued, very sedate.
Here is Garnacho picking it up far side. He can inject a bit of positivity into the game. He runs down the left, gives it to Rashford, gets it back again. Garnacho continues his run, a little reverse ball into Rashford. Wasn't quite precise enough from the Argentine, and it was tidied up by James Justin, who runs into the inside left channel as Manchester United look at it the right as Leicester do, and clears upfield down the touchline in front of the Sir Alex Ferguson stand, which is full tonight. Yeah, it's a little bit subdued, but they've seen a lot of change around here in the last few years. Manchester United's appointment of Ruben Amorim, they will hope changes all that, but they've had a couple of forced dawns since the great man Sir Alex Ferguson, whose name adorns that stand opposite us, moved on from dugout to director's box. And they can't really afford another. What they need is to try and get this team playing in a manner where they put points on the board. Yeah, progression in cup competitions is very important. If you're Manchester United, that's the standard. However, they are 14th in the Premier League at this moment, and they need to start winning more games.
Forget about Ineos and Jim Ratcliffe. I think... Oh, hang on, is Leicester go through? No,
it was offside.
I think you have to look at the setup just below that with Dan Ashworth, Jason Wilcox coming in.
Oh, a mistake by Martinez, who almost lost the ball. James Justin tried to fight with him for it on the corner of the penalty area. It spilt into the box, and across went Altay to collect at the feet of Ayew, but just a little bit of vulnerability from Lisandro Martinez.
Just that lack of confidence, isn't it? Lack of belief again. A little bit of hesitancy in their play so far. No, but I think Dan Ashworth, Jason Wilcox, very experienced. Bringing through finding managers, picking managers, tracking those coaches, understanding the way of play, and then obviously Jason Wilcox bringing through a lot of the youngsters at Manchester City as well. So I think you've got to give those two or three transfer windows to get it right. Amrin, or whoever comes in, will come in as head coach, will have a slight say in who comes in in terms of players, but the record of Dan Ashraf's offside.
Well, Dallo is allowed to continue, sent the ball to the far post. Garnacho is there, and it's smashed into the top of the net, and the linesman has kept his flag down and says he thinks that Dallo was onside. Garnacho has converted from the edge of the 6-yard box. The Leicester City defence stopped, but Garnacho and Dallo did not, and Alejandro Garnacho gets the ball from the right-sided cross from Dallo and rams it into the roof of the net, and Manchester United have a 2-goal lead.
Again, have absolute no. First look, I thought it was offside. We're going to get a replay now, completely the wrong angle on our first replay. We've got no idea. It's a good finish as he comes in at the far post, opens his body up right foot, sticks it into the roof of the net. Steve Cooper's going absolutely ballistic down on the touchline. We've seen 4 replays.
No VAR.
Not a single decent angle of whether it was offside or not yet.
We need an 18-yard cam, don't we, really?
There's got to be one. Surely.
I don't think it's the full camera setup tonight. And there is no VAR, of course, but Garnacho's goal has been awarded.
My instant reaction was offside.
Yeah, mine too.
He's in an offside position, and it was right in front of the linesman. I mean, Steve Cooper's really not happy with what's going on. He's now chuntering to the 4th official. He's out shouting at the assistant referee with a flag. Going to be very, very interesting to see that.
Well, Andy Maddies was talking on his earpiece to the officials, and Steve Cooper just wants an explanation. He's over to the 4th official. He's in the ear of the assistant on this near side. He absolutely cannot believe what he has seen. He's talking to Nick Hopton, who is the assistant on this near touchline. He's having a word with Michael Salisbury, who is the 4th official, and he thinks it was an offside goal. We can't tell you one way or the other, because it looked to us at first glance that it was. We haven't seen a proper replay that gives us a clear indication.
Whether it was or whether it wasn't, the problem that you now have is there's no VAR all of a sudden.
Here is Fernandes winging the ball deep inside his own half and sending it forward for Xerxes to chase, but it's too close to Luke Thomas, who's going to come across on the cover and tidy up for Manchester United and get it back. Oh, it's given away cheaply, and Bruno Fernandes has got it again. He sends it into the centre. It's a poor pass by him. It's right behind Alejandro Garnacho and cleared away by Oliver Skipp. Casemiro is just gesticulating to Dallo to hold his position here as Leicester look to break. They come forward into the centre. Sumare back to Okoli, but Steve Cooper is still absolutely furious. He's blowing a gasket down in front of us. He can't quite believe that it is a goal that has been allowed by the officials on this near side. He's furious about it. He's called over his assistant as well, because he can't keep having a go at the 4th official. Here's El Canouse, edge of the area, right-footed for Leicester, looking to strike from distance, and it's cleared over the bar. Look, Manchester United can throw away a lead from 2 goals up, believe me, they've done it before. But a 2-goal advantage at this stage almost looks like the game's done and dusted, and Steve Cooper knows that is such a crucial decision. Again, we're seeing another replay of this, but again from the wrong angle here, because it's, we need to see an angle where Dallo's position is clear in relation to the last defender.
Whether it is offside or not, let's go back to VAR. Because there's no VAR, the referees, the assistant referees, are so used to working with it, they don't have to be as sharp on those decisions.
So do you think that he's kept his flag down because he's thought, oh, that's a tight one?
Instinct has to come into it,
but he's right close to it, right? So
that's understandable.
Dallo is inside the Leicester half. He looks to us like he's in an offside position, but he's standing right in front of the assistant on this near side. So maybe he sees that Connor Cody is playing him on in the middle.
He may be onside, but the problem that he's got is, if he's unsure, the default position now is, because of VAR, I'm unsure, I'm not quite got it. I'll wait because VAR will get me out of trouble. So you've always got that safety net in the background, and therefore that makes you less sharp.
Well, look, this has now got to the point where the referee is so annoyed that he has booked Steve Cooper. He's come over and booked Steve Cooper, and actually, I think even Ruud van Nistelrooy said, come on, leave it out, you don't need to do that.
But he knows at 2-0 down, it's very, very difficult to come back from.
It's a major decision.
And again, for whatever reason, we're not getting any sort. Leicester will have that. They'll have an iPad down there. They'll have their screens down there. They will be able to pick it up from whatever. You know, they will. But this is the problem that you have when you suddenly don't have VAR, because officials don't have to be as sharp.
I think they would argue that. Thomas into the box, headed out towards the far side. Cody.
I've got quite a lot of evidence to say otherwise.
Here is Samare back into the box. It's punched away by Altay. It wasn't a great punch. It comes towards El Khanous, who hits it right-footed in off the post. It's a terrific goal. It's a poor punch out by Altay by Ndia. It went straight towards the edge of the penalty area, and Bilal El Khanous, the Moroccan, struck it firmly, first time from the edge of the box. It hit the inside of the post, and Leicester are back in it. Manchester United 2, Leicester 1.
It's an absolutely magnificent strike. Very difficult skill, as the ball is weakly punched out to the edge of the box. But this is the problem. He nods it down with his head, and it's bouncing in front of him. And it's an incredible strike that he does. Outside the foot, just as it bounces up, plenty of spin on the ball. It hits the inside of the post, whizzes across, hits the other inside of the post, and ends up in the back of the net. Maybe Casemiro could get out to him a little bit quicker. It's an incredible technique to hit that shot, keep it down, not to just completely air shot that.
El Khanous with a terrific goal, and do you know what, we probably needed that after the controversy about the second goal for Manchester United. Steve Cooper will now feel that there's still something in for Leicester City. Lovely reverse ball after good work from Agate by Garnacho onto Rashford, left side into the box, saved by Danny Ward down low, pops up, Cody puts it behind, it's away for a corner away to our right hand side. What a strike by El Khanous, but I have to go back to the goalkeeper making a poor punch out from the delivery into the box initially.
Yeah, it was a really poor punch, and I think you can't get away with that. You got to punch it high, got to get distance. He didn't do that. Steve Cooper's reaction was interesting. Turned round to the bench and put his fingers up and went, that should be 1-1.
Corner kick over on the far side to be taken by Fernandes. It might just spark the game into a bit of life. 3 goals already in the match. It hasn't felt the noisiest Old Trafford has been recently. As the ball goes in towards the near post, it doesn't reach Dalot. It comes back out to Fernandes, who flies it to Garnacho, who's on the edge of the penalty area. It's brought down by El Khanous inside the D. It was a poor challenge actually, and good feet by Garnacho. It's going to be a free kick, a step inside the D, dead centre, and a chance for Manchester United to get another strike on goal. Manchester United lead by 2-1. Casemiro with a wonder strike. A goal from Garnacho, which looked as if Dalot was offside in the build-up, and then El Khanous with a terrific strike into the far corner after a poor punch from a cross by Altay by Ndia, and it's 2-1 to Manchester United after 35 minutes.
How's that not a booking?
Don't know.
I mean, Garnacho sidesteps him. He knocks the ball a yard to the side, and he just whacks through him. He just takes him out on the edge of the box. It's the most blatant foul you've ever seen. If that's not a yellow card, I don't know what is.
But here's another problem I find with Manchester United. They've got a free kick on the edge of the D here, right? Now, who takes it? There never ever seems to be a clear taker. It's always who at that moment in time has gone over and taken control. There needs to be a hierarchy in those situations, something that I'm sure they will instill when the new manager gets in his seat. Fernandes and Martinez are over it. It's Bruno Fernandes off the wall and into the net. 3-1. Bruno Fernandes free kick, dead centre of the D, straight down the middle, took a deflection off the wall which sent it beyond Danny Ward, who was going the wrong way towards the corner. And Manchester United, having been briefly pegged back for just over a minute, have re-established a 2-goal lead. It's Manchester United 3, Leicester 1.
Danny Ward is very, very unlucky. I mean, it's not a great free kick. He saves that quite easily. And then that's got to go down as an own goal. And I know people will say it's on target, but it's actually a poor free kick. It's about chest high. Not quite sure who it hit.
James Justin, I think.
Yeah, I mean, but he's stooping down, isn't he? Bruno Fernandes is very, very fortunate. It was a poor free kick, but suddenly Manchester United, without playing particularly well, and you would think 36 minutes into a game, 3-1, what an unbelievable game it must be. But it's not quite been that way, is it? It's strange sometimes how the scoreline doesn't quite reflect what you think it should.
Manchester United 3, Leicester 1. It's half-time down at the Amex Stadium, and Brighton 0, Liverpool 0. Aston Villa 1, Crystal Palace 1. Newcastle United 2, Chelsea 0. And the goals coming there from Alexander Isak and an own goal from Axel Disasi. Here come Manchester United again through the middle of the pitch with Zirkzee. Zirkzee out towards the left, and Garnacho's in space. He strikes right-footed in towards the near post, and it's saved by Danny Ward, pushed round and out for a corner. But Manchester United maybe just sensing now, and the crowd starting to get a little lift and a buzz off the fact that Manchester United seemingly is scoring at will.
Well, now they can play with freedom. They can go out there, and the likes of Garnacho, Rashford, who we haven't really seen as yet, can start to play with a little bit of flair. They can open the legs up, they can try things. If it doesn't come off, it doesn't really matter now with that 2-goal cushion.
Corner kick taken short to Dalot from Bruno Fernandes, ripped him towards Casemiro. It's off the post, rolls across the line, comes back to him, and he smashes it into the roof of the net. Casemiro scored twice inside the first 40 minutes. Manchester United have got 4. They couldn't hit the band door with a banjo on Sunday, but they've scored 4 goals inside the first half at Old Trafford, and this game already looks over. Ruud van Nistelrooy celebrates. Manchester United get 4 before half-time, and Casemiro's got 2 of them.
Incredible. It's not great defending from Leicester in the first place. It's a great ball in, it's whipped in at pace. Casemiro gets the first header on it, and you're thinking, oh, it's just going to hit the inside of the post and do exactly what Leicester's goal did, hit the other post and go in, but it doesn't, it comes out. But he's the first one to react. That cannot happen. As a Leicester defender, that cannot happen in that situation. He just strolls across the edge of the 6-yard box, past at least 3 Leicester players, off one post, off the other, and he doesn't even really have to react that quickly. I mean, it's very, very simple, and he fires it into the roof of there, and suddenly he's on a hat-trick.
I mean, Erik ten Hag must be sitting there saying, how is your luck? They couldn't score for toffee on Sunday. Well, they missed so many easy chances, and they've only had a few chances in this game, and they've scored all of them.
Well, you know what they say, Sam? It's better to be a lucky manager than a good manager.
They've had 5 goal attempts, 4 on target. They've scored 4 times.
At the moment, Ruud van Nistelrooy, he might be the best coach on the planet. Ruud van Nistelrooy is a lucky manager at this point in time because of the way the goals have gone in this evening compared to the way that Manchester United have played.
And they're on the hunt again for more. And here is Zirkzee funneling it forward to Rashford. Rashford back towards Zirkzee, but he managed to get players back, Leicester, to stop that. Leicester looking a little bit all over the place here, and Dalot has now got it on the right-hand side. They're pliable opponents, that's for sure. Rashford strikes from the edge of the box. It's hit by Oliver Skipp, and it comes out towards this near side. And well, Leicester have found themselves unfortunately down by 4 goals to 1. I don't think it's been a 4-1 game, but they have looked ragged defensively. The defending from that set piece where it hits both posts and comes back to Casemiro, bearing in mind he was the one who glanced the ball against the initial post. There was no reaction whatsoever, and that can't happen at this level of football. United hungry for more goals. Casemiro forward towards Rashford. Back towards De Ligt, and he starts to slow things down before looking up and trying to move the ball back in field to Lindelof. Arsenal leading by 2-0 away at Preston. Gabriel Jesus and Ethan Nwaneri scoring the goals, and Tottenham are 1-0 up against Manchester City. Timo Werner has scored. It's an interesting night, isn't it? Manchester United are scoring the chances they get, and Timo Werner's on the score sheet for Tottenham.
Well, against Manchester City, it was their hoodoo ground, wasn't it, for such a long time?
Yeah, and all the talk about Manchester City, by the way, playing the kids tonight. The kids are Ortega, Lewis, Stones, Diaz, Ake, Gundogan, Nunez, Savinho, Foden, O'Reilly and McAtee. Not exactly the academy kids that played in the under-18s the other night, so I think maybe Pep has sold a little bit of a pup there to those who are thinking that it would be a youthful team. Ball in towards Casemiro again, he heads the ball past the post and the offside flag is up this time from Nick Hopton, the assistant on this near side. Steve Cooper hoping that maybe he would be a little bit more alert with the flag for the second goal that Manchester United scored.
Well, I think that was the killer. We still haven't seen definitive replay of that. I haven't seen a decent angle to know whether it was on or off. But I think that second goal was the one that really sort of killed Leicester. I know they got back into it relatively quickly after that, but then suddenly the third goes in, and that's it, game over.
Ruud van Nistelrooy is standing on the edge of the technical area, legs spread, arms folded.
Sam Matterface's his roll neck on.
Dark jacket, trench coat on, looking $1 million. He was worth a lot more than just $1 million when he was a Manchester United striker, that is for sure.
What did they pay for him? You'll know this, surely.
Oh God, it was a lot of money back in the day. It was over 20 million, and back then 20 million was a lot of money. So you're talking, I think it was about 25 million they bought him for. You remember that he got a knee injury the year he was supposed to go to Manchester United, and Alex Ferguson actually rang him up and said to him, "Don't worry, we will come back and buy you next year."
Not a bad decision, was it?
Here is Garnacho down the left-hand side, looking for Fernandes. Back to the edge of the penalty area. Garnacho with the shots just over the top of the bar. Well, they're running riot. They're creating chances. They've scored their chances tonight. Ruud van Nistelrooy called on his players to remind everyone what this great club stands for. There hasn't been much of a reminder of that this season. United have won just 4 of 14 games this campaign, but they have come here tonight, albeit against a pliable opponent, and they have shown exactly what they are capable of. And I just wonder whether or not, and I mentioned this before the game, Danny, that security, that extra security of having Ugarte and Casemiro together and then giving the licence to the 4 attackers to go and do the work the other side of the ball has just given them a little bit of extra freedom, more structure.
It's interesting, isn't it? We often criticise the double pivot, saying it's a very defensive-minded formation. I was watching something the other day with Thomas Tuchel and the way that he uses a double pivot, and the fact that then the wing-backs can almost play as the highest on the pitch. You know, I think he was talking about Ben Chilwell on one side and Reece James on the other, up with the forwards, you know, level with a striker. And he said, well, with a double pivot you can do that. So actually, when some people think it's a defensive formation, it's not, because as you say, it allows those other people to forget about defending. It then becomes not their issue. Other players can get forward. You've got your 2-3 defenders, you've got that 2 sat in front. They can cope with pretty much most things that get thrown at them if they're decent players. So it actually can be an attacking formation, as it's proven tonight.
Xerxes won the ball off James Justin on halfway. Leicester losing the ball, and then Skip tries to nab it off Xerxes, who couldn't find the pass again. Infield towards Rashford.
Still not broken into a jog though, has he?
4 minutes of added time at the end of the first 45. Manchester United lead by 4-1. And those kids on half-term that have come to this game tonight, I think would probably be enjoying themselves.
Mr. Crook has brought some with him, hasn't
he? He has, yeah. He's brought a whole horde of kids with him tonight. He's on daddy daycare duty.
Must be cheap tickets.
No, I bought them.
Well, there you go. There must be cheap tickets for him.
Here is Akoli, right side of the centre circle. Back infield it goes.
Nothing cheaper than a freebie.
He finds his way into a freebie, don't you worry about that. Cody up over the halfway line, looking for the run of Justin, chested down, back into Justin from Decordova-Reid, who runs across the 18-yard line. Casey McAteer with a shot, parried away by Olcay, who then gobbles it up at the second attempt, and Manchester United's defence manages to survive. They lead by 4-1. You would think even Manchester United couldn't throw away lead from this sort of advantage.
I think it'd be very, very difficult to do that. Although the keeper doesn't look the greatest, does he? I mean, that's the second one. He's parried that. Wasn't particularly good.
Some interesting observers in the director's box tonight. Sir Alex Ferguson sitting next to Michael Vaughan.
He's a Chef Wednesday fan.
What were you saying earlier about freebies?
I'm going to text him. Traitor to his club.
They were playing last night though, weren't they?
It doesn't matter. It's clearly come for a prawn sandwich.
Good performance yesterday, by the way, from Sheffield Wednesday against Brentford. I thought they played really well in that game. Danny Rolls, a particularly good manager, I think, in the making. A free kick to Leicester. And actually, I'm not necessarily sure it should be a free kick because I'm sure it hit the referee. But anyway, Thomas whips it in towards the far post. Not dealt with. Comes to Connor Cody. He's onside and he slaps it home. It's 4-2. Both defences absolutely shocking, especially from set pieces. And Manchester United, who have led 2-0, 3-1 and 4-1, have been pegged back again for a second time on the night. It's Manchester United 4, Leicester 2, and Connor Cody has scored.
Maybe they can throw it away. I mean Dallow's had a shocker, hasn't he? He's not read it, he's not seen it. I think is it De Ligt might just get a little touch that sends it into his midriff, and that sends it back across the middle of the 6-yard box. Great finish from Connor Cody, doesn't miss from there, 3 yards out.
I mean, it has been a bonkers evening. It has not been a barnstorming end-to-end encounter. Every shot has gone in. That's what it feels like. Leicester have only had a couple of attempts. In fact, they've had 3 shots on goal. They've scored 2 of them. Manchester United have had 6 shots on goal. They've scored 4 of them.
I mean, yeah, you're right. As the scoreline doesn't reflect the way that the game has gone. I mean, incredibly exciting, but I think, Ruud van Nistelrooy very, very disappointed with that. 2 players going for the same ball, Casemiro and De Ligt. One flicks it on, goes into Dallow's midriff and then pops into Connor Cody. I mean, how many times at the weekend, people say that 2-0's a dangerous scoreline. Well, it's not.
We had this debate last week when we were at Leeds-Watford.
Yeah, trust me, 0-0's a much more dangerous.
And I said to you, it wasn't dangerous. It was
spectacular if you throw it away.
There was still a possibility that people would come back. I didn't say it was the most dangerous scoreline. No. I said it was a dangerous scoreline.
Well, then what I'm going to make is 4-2's now a dangerous scoreline, isn't it? Because if Leicester get the next goal, it's effectively 2-0. They're on the ascendancy.
Indeed.
We've still got half to go. I mean, it'd be interesting if Leicester did nick the next one, what the reaction would be from United players.
Cody Gakpo has scored for Liverpool on the stroke, actually at the first action of the second half, live on Talksport. Brighton 0, Liverpool 1. It's half-time, Aston Villa, Crystal Palace 1-1. Newcastle 2-0 up against Chelsea, but Preston are 2-0 down at home to Arsenal, and Tottenham are 1-0 up. Marcus Rashford just got a whack in the unmentionables, and he is just hunched over on the halfway line. The drop ball gives it back to Leicester City, and we have played our 4 minutes of added time at the end of the first 45 minutes. A bonkers first 45 minutes, really, in which Manchester United have attacked and scored and failed to defend. And Leicester City's defending has been pretty ropey too. There is the half-time whistle. And although it's been a fascinating first 45 minutes, it's not exactly been a barnstorming 6-goal thriller that the scoreboard suggests. Manchester United do lead by 4-2, and Ruud van Nistelrooy will probably be learning a bit of a lesson. It might look good on paper, this Manchester United #1 job, but ultimately, when you defend the way they did, especially late on in the first half, nothing is ever easy, not at Old Trafford anyway. At the break, it is Manchester United 4, Leicester 2.
Well, I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. We've had goals galore. I think there's been other chances as well. And with the Leicester fans singing we're going to win 5-4, Danny Mills, the game is definitely not over at 4-2.
No, that goal has just made it interesting. I think if Leicester go in 4-1 down, I think there's a little bit of a problem with that. And it's very hard to raise the players for that second half. The fact they've got themselves back into it now gives them a real fighting chance. But if you think about the game, the way the goals have gone, Casemiro scores an absolute worldie. That ain't going to happen too often. Bruno Fernandes gets a massive deflection on the free kick. That doesn't happen very often. Leicester unfortunate with that one. And then there's a possible offside goal that we still haven't seen because the camera angles are shocking. So, the scoreline flatters Manchester United, I think, by quite a lot. They've been slightly the better side, I'll give them that. If they were winning 1-0, then that would probably be sort of a fair reflection of the game, because it's been exciting, it's been unusual, but it's not a 6-goal thriller to this point.
Well, the stats tell you we've had 11 shots for United, 6 for Leicester, which is a lot for a first half. 6 for United on target, 4 on target for Leicester. You'd have to go through the forensics of every single chance to know whether they were clear-cut or not. There was a great chance for Garnacho that was well saved by Danny Ward that led to the corner that Casemiro headed against the post. It hit the other post and then came out and he slammed it into the net. So he got an assist for his own goal. I think that's how mad the game is. Sam's right, he summed it up by saying it's bonkers. It's been absolutely crazy, the game, and I love the fact that it isn't over. But you're right, this is not a sign, even at 4-1 up, but 4-2 up is not a sign that all is well with Man United and Erik Ten Hag was the problem. It's going to be solved by him going, whoever comes in.
It's quite subdued, isn't it? You know, I mean, the pace of play, like I said, and I've highlighted a few, Xerxes, he's not broke into a jog yet. You know, this is your opportunity to impress. The new manager will be watching this game, you know, whether it be live on television or he'll watch it back, and he'll go, how did these players react to Ruud van Nistelrooy? What was their attitude like? Well, if I'm him sat at home or looking at this tomorrow, looking at Xerxes' performance, I'm going, he's not bothered. He's not even getting in the under-21s playing like that.
And what an opportunity he's had, by the way, because Højlund's on the bench. Ruud van Nistelrooy, one of the greatest strikers we've seen in recent times, has given Xerxes the chance, and he is strolling around. They had a good break, and he had to pick a perfect pass to a teammate, and he couldn't even do that. He was so casual.
What gets you noticed as a player? Yeah, scoring goals, getting assists, doing great tricks and creating that sort of stuff. But the next thing that gets you noticed is work rate, attitude. That's the most important thing, and you just haven't seen it. And I wonder if that's a little bit how Manchester United have been this season, maybe last season at times as well. That fight, that desire, that work rate isn't quite there. And if you're not doing that day in, day out on the training ground, you can't then just suddenly turn it on when you come to a game.
Well, they played a song by Culture Club at the start of the game, just before the start of the game, and the culture at this club has not been right. That is a big thing that needs rectifying, and it probably doesn't happen overnight unless you're some sort of miracle manager who can do that. In terms of the goals, you're right, the Casemiro in off the bar for 1-0 was an absolute worldie. What a brilliant strike. Privilege to be here to witness that.
Do you know what it reminded me of? I don't know, you'll remember back. Was it Gaza in 91, his free kick against David Seaman?
Oh yeah,
similar sort of angle, similar sort of distance. That you strike it with your instep, but it's got curl on it as well. You know, it's not a little bendy one. It's not just a driven one that you smash. He's picked that out. He's gone, you know what, instep, I'm going to hit this with power and curl it at the same time. Okay, it looks a little bit better because it comes off the inside of the bar, but it's a fantastic technique he's used.
We've just seen the Garnacho one again. Dalot does look offside, but you're right, there's no angle that's been shown that proves he is offside. What I can tell you is Steve Cooper was definitely telling everybody that it was some distance offside. He got a booking because he protested that much about it. So he was absolutely convinced that it should not have stood that goal, but it did stand. And what I love about Leicester, and this is Leicester's, it's not exactly their reserves, but it's not exactly a full-strength side, Danny. They've got themselves back in the game. They've kept themselves alive in the game by getting forward, scoring goals, not capitulating, showing some character.
Yeah, and putting balls into the box. You know, that's what you've got to do. And if now I think his team talk at half-time, Steve Cooper, is a little bit easier. You say, look, the keeper's a bit flaky. He's not great on crosses. We've seen that. Put the balls in the box. Get an opportunity. Get the balls whipped in. Get around the goalkeeper because he doesn't look particularly confident. He's already had a couple of wobbles. And you got yourself back into this. There's an offside goal. So go against the officials. You've got yourselves back into it. Now let's go for it in the second half. I'm expecting Leicester to come out and be a little bit more proactive in the second half because I think now they've got to go for it. There's nothing really to fear at this point. You know, you're 2-0 down, you go 2-0, 2 goals behind, you're going out of the competition. There's nothing to fear from Manchester United. You know, I've been here when Manchester United have scored 4, not touched the ball. It's like been defending for your life. It's certainly not been that sort of game.
We could end up with a 6-6 thriller here and going to penalties after the 90 minutes. It is Manchester United 4, Leicester 2. Spurs have got a second against Man City. Pap Sarr has made it 2-0. Remember, Mickey van der Ven has gone off injured in that game. with Spurs leading by 2-0. Let's run you down the scores. Carabao Cup last 16. Brighton 0, Liverpool 1's live on Talksport right now. Aston Villa 1, Crystal Palace 1, Man United 4, Leicester 2, Newcastle 2, Chelsea 0, Arsenal are 2-0 up at Preston, and Spurs now lead Man City by 2-0. And in the Scottish Premiership, Celtic 0, Dundee 0, Dundee United 1, Motherwell 1, Hearts 1, Kilmarnock 0, Ross County 0, Hibs 0, St Mirren 1, St Johnstone 1, and in the big one, Aberdeen lead Rangers 1-0. Aberdeen unbeaten. They've only dropped 2 points this season, and Nicky Devlin has got the goal at Pittodrie. Aberdeen 1, Rangers 0. But live on Talksport 2, it's a 6-goal thriller. Man United 4, Leicester 2.
Talksport 2, official broadcast partner of the Premier League and the EFL. Talksport 2 is your dynamic destination for all the latest sporting action, featuring live commentary of all the biggest events, including football, PGA golf, horse racing, Premiership rugby, cricket, boxing, and all the big-hitting drama of the NFL. Touchdown! Plus, Talksport 2's official betting partner, William Hill, is always on hand with the insight and in-depth analysis you need. Talksport 2 with official betting partner, William Hill. 18+, gambleaware.org.
Screwfix Sprint delivers from store to door in 60 minutes or less. So, whatever the job, you can do it with less hassle and more hustle. Less pausing and more pressing on. So don't break your stride. Screwfix Sprint. Order now exclusively on a Screwfix app. £5 delivery charge, no minimum spend. Don't stop. Sprint. Conditions and geographical restrictions apply. Selected products.
Nothing beats a Jet2 holiday. So get ahead for next summer with more choice than ever. Discover over 60 stunning destinations with a range of 2 to 5-star hotels and millions of free Chel Place holidays available. Book next summer now with just a £60 deposit per person. Jet2 Holidays. Package holidays you can trust. After national protected. Subject to availability and conditions.
The British Red Cross is here to welcome people fleeing the conflict in Ukraine.
We're here to help people to safety when storms hit.
We're here to show anyone struggling that someone cares.
Hiya, that's a huge help.
We're here for humanity. With your support, the Red Cross has helped millions of people in the UK and 190 other countries. Search British Red Cross to support us. Together, we are the world's emergency responders.
Delicious free McNuggets.
What? How?
Collect enough points on the McDonald's app and you can get items for free.
Bet they taste better when they're free. Let's have one.
Fine, go on then, but just one.
Sign up on the My McDonald's app and turn your points into much-loved items for free. 18+, earn points on menu items. Redeem points on selected items only. Serving times apply. Only via app and participating restaurants. Terms apply.
The Monday Club on Talksport 2.
A broadcasting juggernaut of sport.
They were in big trouble at half-time.
Professional analysis.
He always gets away with these tactical fouls.
Oh, he's the master of dark arts.
And refreshingly frank opinion after all the action.
I don't know if they're as open as they were and as aggressive as they were.
The Monday Club. The sharpest minds in the business.
Elite level mentality.
Monday afternoon from 5.
On Talksport 2.
This Saturday,
Game day is go.
It's the ultimate heavy-hitting Premier League experience.
Exclusive rights to 2 massive Saturday games.
What a winner!
Newcastle versus Arsenal.
Kick-off 12:30
on Talksport.
An absolute corker.
Bournemouth versus Manchester City.
Kick-off 3 p.m.
on Talksport.
They've got the breakthrough!
100% total football each and every weekend.
Game day
on Talksport and Talksport 2.
The epicentre of world-class football coverage.
And he finds the bottom corner!
The League Cup live on Talksport 2.
So after a frightening start to the season, now for a rude awakening. He may not get the time to bewitch the Manchester United faithful before Amorim turns up, but he has the chance to show he is capable of a few tricks that can deliver a treat. Good little step over by Fernandes, comes back to Casemiro, who sends the ball elegantly into the far corner with a fantastic thunderbolt which Danny Ward didn't even see. Dallo has been allowed to continue, sent the ball to the far post, Garnacho is there. and it's smashed into the top of the net, and the linesman has kept his flag down and says he thinks that Dallo was onside. He comes towards El Canouse, who hits it right-footed in off the post. It's a terrific goal. Fernandes and Martinez are over it. It's Bruno Fernandes off the wall and into the net, 3-1. Ripped him towards Casemiro, it's off the post, rolls across the line, comes back to him, and he smashes it into the roof of the net. Casemiro scored twice inside the first 40 minutes. Manchester United have got 4. Thomas whips it in towards the far post, not dealt with, comes to Connor Cody, he's onside, and he slaps it home. It's 4-2.
Brilliant. Live on Talksport 2, Man United 4, Leicester 2. A reminder that earlier Talksport discovered that sources in Portugal are saying that Ruben Amorim will definitely stay with Sporting until November the 10th. So that's 3 more games, including Man City, for Sporting in Portugal next week in the Champions League. So that's what Talksport understands from sources in Portugal. Ruben Amorim, the next Man United manager, we believe, but he'll be staying with Sporting until November the 10th. That's the latest news on the arrival of Ruben Amorim at Manchester United from Sporting. Still waiting for the teams to come out in the second half. Let me tell you what's coming up in terms of the live football on the Talksport network. Here on Talksport 2, Luton West Brom in the Championship is a Friday night game. Hugh Woozencroft will be in charge for that one. Jim Proudfoot, Scott Minto on commentary at Kenilworth Road. Luton not had a great start. West Brom have stopped scoring goals. Saturday on Talksport, it's game day. It's back, the award-winning show with Resmin Chowdhury from 11 a.m. She'll be at St James Park for Newcastle against Arsenal, the 12:30 kickoff. 3 o'clock on Talksport, Bournemouth against Manchester City. Live commentary of that. I'll be at Liverpool hosting the show on Saturday afternoon. So we've got live commentary on Talksport rather than around the grounds on Saturday afternoon. And then on Talksport 2 on Sunday, FA Cup first round, we're going to bring you National League Sutton United taking on top of League One Birmingham City. It's a 12:30 kickoff on Talksport 2. That'll be followed on Talksport 2 by a championship game in London. Millwall take on Burnley. Commentary of that one, which kicks off at 3 o'clock. On Talksport from 1:30, I'll be hosting Sunday session from here at Old Trafford. Man United take on Chelsea, but what an afternoon of football on Sunday afternoon from 1:30 onwards. Not just Premier League, we've got Championship, FA Cup first round, Scottish League Cup semi-final, we've got WSL as well, including Spurs against Villa and Manchester United against Chelsea. It's going to be a hell of a Sunday session on Talksport, 1:30 Sunday afternoon. I'll be in charge of that one. And then Monday night game night is back on Talksport, and it's a West London derby as Fulham take on Brentford. You can join me, Sam Matterface, Danny Murphy from 7 p.m. on Talksport for that. And just to flag up next midweek, because we'll take you around the grounds, all the goals, got commentaries as well. Bristol City, Sheffield United here on Talksport 2 in the Championship on Tuesday night. And at the same time on Talksport, Sporting against Man City. Ruben Amorim expected to still be in charge of Sporting for that game. I'll be at Anfield. Liverpool take on Bayer Leverkusen in the Champions League that night. And then on Wednesday, it's Club Brugge against Aston Villa in the Champions League on Talksport at 5:45. It's followed by Inter Milan Arsenal also on Talksport in the evening. Double dose of Champions League action, getting in the way of drive, but live football on Talksport on the network. And that includes tonight, let's remind you, the teams make their way out of the latest scores in the Carabao Cup tonight. Brighton 0, Liverpool 1, live on Talksport right now. Cody Gakpo breaking the deadlock just after half-time. Villa 1, Palace 1, but injury problems for Palace. Adam Wharton taken off, Eberici Eze taken off as well. He scored the Palace goal, 1 apiece at Villa Park. Man United 4, Leicester 2 here. The United players are back out waiting for Leicester. Newcastle 2, Chelsea 0, Isaac and a Disasi own goal with the goals for Newcastle. Preston 0, Arsenal 2. Ethan Nwaneri got the second. Gabriel Jesus got the first. And Spurs 2, Man City 0. After Brighton Liverpool is done on Talksport, commentary of Spurs 2, Man City 0 in the second half will also be on Talksport. But here on Talksport 2, what a game. Anything is possible in this second half at Old Trafford. Manchester United 4, Leicester City 2. Let's hand you back to our commentary team here at Old Trafford of League Cup winner Danny Mills alongside Sam Matterface.
Thank you very much, Adrian. Yes, Liverpool have just gone 2-0 up away at Brighton over on Talksport, and we've had goals galore here in the first 45 minutes. It's been fun and entertaining just sort of analysing the goals at half-time, looking back at some of them. The first one, an absolute worldie from Casemiro. The second one, clearly looks offside when you see the replay of it, that Garnacho eventually puts in the net. Then the brilliant what would have been equaliser if Steve Cooper had had his way, from El Khanous, which was struck so beautifully in off the post, but after a mistake by Altay Biandir. And then the Manchester United goals kept coming. The free kick, which flicked off the wall, and then the pinball wizard inside the penalty area, which Casemiro converted before an unmarked Connor Cody profited from a mistake from Diogo Dalot. And it's 4-2 at half-time. So where will the second half take us? No changes. Danny Mills, what are you expecting?
I'm expecting Leicester to be a little bit more positive. I think they've got themselves back into it with that goal just before half-time. And suddenly, okay, they still find themselves 2 goals behind, but there's nothing really to be scared of. And they know that they can create chances if they're a little bit more positive in this game.
Ball out on the near side. Looks like Martinez will take that midway inside the Manchester United half. They've got Altay Biandir in goal. A back four of Dalot, De Ligt, Lindelof and Martinez. Casemiro and Ugarte are providing a screen in front of the back four. And Bruno Fernandes playing in the 10 with Rashford and Garnacho either side of Joshua Zirkzee in attack.
Next goal is absolutely crucial in this game. And that's not just obviously because if it's Leicester, for instance, it gets them closer. But what will that do to Manchester United mentally?
Here is Ayew down the right-hand side. I'll do the Leicester 11 for you in just a second. Blue shirts, blue shorts, blue socks attacking the scoreboard end away to our right, where Manchester United plundered 4 goals in the first half. Collected by El Khanous, out wider to James Justin. El Khanous once again tries to get it back centrally, does a few little tricks, lays it off to Skip, and he goes back to halfway. So they have Danny Ward in goal, Justin, Cody, the book to Coley and Thomas as the back four. Samare and Skip as the 2 holders in midfield, and El Khanous playing in the 10. He's released the ball down the right-hand side where he's found Justin, who travels towards the edge of the penalty area, thrashes it straight at Martinez, who threw himself to block that cross. It goes out of play on this near side and away for a throw-in. The rest of the team, De Cordova, Reed and McAteer supporting Ayew in attack. It's Talksport 2 on a Wednesday night, a wet Wednesday night in Manchester. Ruud van Nistelrooy's first game in charge. He looks $1 million, dressed to the nines tonight, and he's absolutely loving being the Manchester United manager, however long it ends up being for. Here's Justin down the right-hand side, played in by the Leicester backline in Cody. It falls all the way through towards Ayew, keeps it alive inside the box. Manchester United not defending it well. It comes through to McAteer, whose strike hits Casemiro, and it's cleared away to halfway. But again, a little bit of hesitancy inside the penalty area as Leicester aim to make a good start to the second 45.
More than a little. I mean, it's interesting that Manchester United have all the parts. They're just not always cohesive. They're not necessarily always in the right place at the right time. They've got some good players. They have some good moments. And then they look very, very shaky at times as well. A little bit more belief there. Especially Justin down this right-hand side, had the opportunity to whip a couple of great crosses in behind the defenders, in between the defence and the goalkeeper. Didn't take that opportunity for some reason.
Ruud van Nistelrooy with his hands rammed into his pockets, just watches as Luke Thomas lines up the free kick. Samare was fouled by the Manchester United midfield, and it's going to be a free kick. El Khanous standing over it as well. Luke Thomas put in a really good delivery at the end of the first half. I wonder whether or not he'll be charged with putting this in too. He's left it for El Khanous this time, right-footed, aimed towards Samare, glances a header towards goal, but it's wide of the right-hand upright, flicks behind and goes out for a goal kick away to our right-hand side. So it's Manchester United 4, Leicester 2. 3 and a bit minutes played at the start of the second half. Erik ten Hag had a big problem with conversion rates at Manchester United. His team got chances, didn't score them. Tonight, they've scored pretty much every good opportunity that they've had, and even the ones that they weren't expecting to score, they have done. Got a little bit of luck at just the right time. Here is Fernandes, whose free kick deflected off the wall and into the net. Gives it to Martinez, who lifts it over the top. It bounces off Justin and almost into the path of Rashford. Eventually cleared by Cody. And then El Khanous brings it clear. Leicester on the front foot again. They come down the right. Samare into Justin. Charges forward. He's got McAteer at the far post. He's looking for him. It's a deep cross. McAteer's going to get there, but he just lost sight of the ball, I think, under the glare of the floodlights. It was very deep and he was by the byline, and it was a difficult angle for him, but he couldn't control it.
Another great break down this right-hand side by Justin. It's a poor cross, I have to say. It scoops it rather than crosses it, and it's a high, loopy one. It's heading out of play. It's very, very difficult for McAteer to get anything on that and get it sent goalwards.
Tottenham leading by 2-0 in the
I think Peppers maybe caused some of that. It basically dismissed this competition out of sight at the weekend by saying what he was going to do and the team that he was going to play. That puts it in the heads of the players that he's not bothered about this competition. And obviously I've not seen the game, but you can just imagine and there's a lot of senior players, playing this evening in that team, but they're getting well beaten, so far. And I just think sometimes managers, they don't need. Perhaps they're one of the greatest managers ever, but don't dismiss that competition. Say, we'll have to play the kids. We'll have to play our second string because we've got nobody available.
I'm making a point about the schedule, I think. Arsenal 2-0 up away at Preston. Chelsea 2-0 down away at Newcastle. 1-1 Aston Villa Palace, and Brighton 2-0 down at home to Liverpool. They're the latest scorelines in the Carabao Cup tonight. You can listen to coverage of Brighton against Liverpool live on Talksport right now. Ball with Marcus Rashford, who plays it into the right channel. I'm not entirely sure who he was aiming at there, but it didn't reach either Xerxes or Dalot. Goes through to Danny Ward, and it's cleared upfield. Header by Lindelof into midfield, but it's a blue shirt that's quickest to it. Ayew gets hold of it, turns away, space to run into. It's 4-on-4 here. Ayew sends it wide to the left, and Casey McAteer, who gets into the box, dazzles his way past one challenge, then runs into Casemiro. And there's a bit of an issue here inside the box, where
was it Agata that he caught in the end?
I think it was Agata who's gone down. He's got back to his feet now after getting smash in the nose. And Leicester, who were just about to restart their attack, are going to have an uncontested drop ball over on the far side of the pitch. Andy Madley, the referee, is going to adjudicate over that.
Never caught him in the face, by the way. Miles away from it.
United 1 win in just 8 games, so confidence is not high, and the concession of another goal in this game will certainly not make them any more stable. They would like to get the 5th goal in this game and really put Leicester City to bed. Cody, skip, better football from Leicester City. Decordova-Reid looking to release Justin. They've done that down the right side. He's got Ayew in the centre. He's crossed into the box. He's steered behind by Casemiro. Manchester United on the back foot here at the start of the second half.
We're lucky. Lindelof was 3 or 4 yards behind every other Manchester United player in that attack. He played everybody onside. It just goes to show that they're not organised at all defensively.
And it's certainly kept our attention this game, that is for sure. It's been a fascinating match to watch. And Manchester United fans, if it finishes like this, will be really happy with the start that Ruud van Nistelrooy has made. The scoreline looks attractive, but this is a pliable Leicester team. Well, certainly wasn't the first half anyway. Here is Luke Thomas's delivery into the near post, away by Casemiro. Back out as far as El Khanous. Thomas stays onside, gets the return. Back to El Khanous once again. Wants to play it into Justin. Looks for the ball back down the right side, but Justin can't squeeze it back to him, so it goes towards the halfway line. Skip picks it up, and Leicester have it just in front of the centre circle. They go towards the left, and Casey McAteer back infield to Samara, deep ball into the heart of the penalty area, thrusted on by Justin, back across the face of goal, comes back out wide again, and Justin down in the right wing position tries to get beyond Rashford, who commits a foul. It's going to be a free kick in the right wing position, and Connor Cody trying to urge his team just to lift themselves, but it's Manchester United that have just dropped off the pace.
On the back foot, aren't they? I said that goal just before half time. If Leicester come out in a positive, and they have been, they look much the better side. James Justin's had 5 or 6 opportunities already down this right hand side, got himself into good positions, hasn't really picked the right final ball yet, but now another opportunity to whip a free kick in from 10 yards from the byline. It could be awkward, put this right on top of the goalkeeper. This is where it needs to go. He's been flaky so far.
Yep, it's a decent place for a free kick down the side of the penalty area on the right, a crossing position which El Khanous whips towards the back post. It was aimed towards Justin but headed clear. Decor Divarid tries to recycle it, doesn't get it right, but nor does Garnacho as he attempts to clear, and El Khanous is quickest to it. Ayew combines with him, gets it back again from El Khanous into the penalty area. McAteer's gone down. I don't know if he slipped and pulled his hamstring there.
I think Martinez might have bumped into him. That's all I'm going to say at this point.
Right, yeah. Are you suggesting he got a...
Well, he put his arms behind his back and looked very, very sheepish. Just having another look at it on the replay. Oh, no, he didn't. He slipped. Yeah, he did. He slipped and twisted a knee, maybe a groin. But it was funny, Martinez's reaction, he kept his hands behind his back and he's like, wasn't me. Looked very, very guilty.
I thought it just fell awkwardly, and it looks like that's the case. Here is the corner on the near side to be taken by Thomas. Thomas drifting the ball over towards the far side. It's flicked on by Cody at the near post, but Casemiro did well to help out. And then it's collected by Dalot, right side of the box, and Manchester United look to escape. 4-2 the score. They haven't had any of the play in Leicester's half at the start of this second half. And Fernandes just trying to calm proceedings down. And Manchester United looking to reset and rebuild. Ruud van Nistelrooy just in conversation with Rene Hacker on this near touchline. There are a couple of substitutes warming up. Mazraoui, Højlund, Amad Diallo and Johnny Evans, who has seen some changes at this place since he made his debut, that is for sure. Seen some changes since he came back from Leicester City. Almost a poor back pass to Danny Ward, which Xerxes was alert to and almost forced him into another error. The ball has been cleared eventually by the former Liverpool man and up towards halfway, but Manchester United have got it back again.
Yeah, it's been really difficult to describe what sort of performance this is from Manchester United. They've scored 4 goals.
Well, it sort of sums up their season, really, Danny, doesn't it? You know, they're capable of the brilliant, and they're also capable of the ridiculous as well, and that's the way it is. And you know, this game is not over, despite the fact that they've scored 4 times tonight. Here is Samari, and that's they've got brilliant players, and that's why there's so much frustration about Erik ten Hag not getting the best out of them. But it is going to take time to try and mould them into a group and find a tactical plan that gets them producing decent results on a consistent basis. Here is Garnacho leaving the ball to Xerxes, a right-footed shot, rifled down towards the goalkeeper's left. Good save by him. Back to Xerxes again on the volley as he turns and swivels and tries to hit it, but it only rises into the top of the Stretford end behind the goal and goes out for a goal kick away to our left. Arsenal 3-0 up now away at Preston.
The first one was a decent strike, but again it's Garnacho down that right-hand side. He's looked the liveliest of all the Manchester United players, you know, going forward. Probably Bruno Fernandes after that. Rashford, I think, has been very, very quiet. Xerxes, very, very quiet this evening. I think that's probably his first and second shot, you know, in the space of a few seconds. The first was a decent strike. The second one, well, I think I've had better at that end as well, and I've nearly cleared the Stretford end.
United lost it, won it back, lost it again, and then the ball was played forward by Skip towards Casey McAteer. It went behind him, and United have got it back again inside their own half. Here is Martinez. Rashford looking to make a run in behind. The ball never came his way. Frustration from Rashford. Comes back towards Martinez. Rashford comes shorter now. Gives it to the Argentine. He's being harassed by El Khanous, who scored that terrific goal for Leicester. Out towards Rashford from Fernandes. And Caleb Akoli has given it straight to Fernandes inside the area. He's sat the goalkeeper down. He's free at the Stretford end and he smashes it in from 4 yards out. A terrible back pass from Akoli, intercepted by Fernandes. He dances round the goalkeeper and puts it in. And all you can hear around Old Trafford on a night where Manchester United score 5 is Ruud van Nistelrooy standing in the dugout, looks on, a gleeful look towards the Stretford end, because Manchester United are going to the quarter-finals.
Ruud van Nistelrooy must be thinking, this management lark's quite easy. We've not played particularly well and we've scored 5 goals. Unbelievable. But Leicester, and Coley especially, shot themselves in the foot there. It's a terrible back pass. sells the goalkeeper so short. Bruno Fernandes just drifts around the goalkeeper, wanders around him, and then, I mean, you just got to hope Conor Coady's on the line, hoping that he just hits the ball at him or something like that. It's a really poor goal from Leicester's point of view. An absolute gift for Bruno Fernandes. The second one he's been gifted this evening.
Tottenham 2, Manchester City 1. And Matheus Nunes with the goal. Brilliant finish on the half volley for the Portuguese midfielder. And Manchester City are back in it. Manchester United, I think, are going to make some changes now that they've hit the hour mark and they lead by 5 goals to 2. And there might be more in this for them. Ball over the top towards Garnacho, and he's got some space down into the penalty area. Played in by Ugarte, sets it back straight to Samare. One back by Rashford. Garnacho tried to win it back again. Samare's being harassed by Rashford, and then the clearance by James Justin, a little bit late from Lisandro Martinez, who apologises. But Justin's had a couple of moments tonight where he's looked a little bit shaky, and I think he was involved in that Okoli back pass where they sort of got in each other's way. Okoli couldn't quite get it back to the goalkeeper with the requisite strength. Fernandes picked it off, rounded the goalkeeper, stood in front of the Stretford end. He was about 2 yards out from goal and just slammed it into the net beyond Conor Coady, who was waiting on the line.
No, you're right. I think James Justin was there almost like he was going to tackle his own defender, you know, and from that point made it very, very difficult for Okoli, because I think Okoli was thinking, I might get clipped here, so didn't quite pull his foot back far enough to play the pass hard enough, and obviously that's what led to a really soft back pass, and Bruno Fernandes was on it in a flash.
Garnacho down the left. Fernandes has tried to send him away. Garnacho's kept it in by sweeping the ball away from the byline, diving in. I mean, call me old-fashioned, but Manchester United have made this approach for Ruben Amorim, but will there be some supporters looking at the scoreline tonight and thinking to themselves, why are we paying all this money to get this geezer out of Sporting, who has no connection to the club and has only been a coach for 5 years, when we've got Ruud van Nistelrooy standing on the touchline orchestrating what has been a terrific victory over Leicester City? That'll be the headline, won't it?
Yeah, but they're not here watching the game, that's why. I mean, it's not been a 5-2 performance by any means. You know, yes, they've taken their chances. They've been fortunate on 3 occasions, I would say. Offside probably was one of the goals. We've still not seen a definitive replay of that, but it certainly looked offside in real time. A massive deflection for Bruno Fernandes' free kick. And then there, Leicester shoot themselves in the foot and they give another goal away. You know, it could easily be at this stage 2 each, you know, quite comfortably. I think long term, if you played like this every week, Manchester United would still be 14th in the table. Simple as that. Because there would be better teams that would turn up here and would beat them more often than not. You know, Leicester have given away 3 goals here. And then there's Casemiro's absolute worldie that doesn't happen very often.
Well, they lead 5-2 right now. And Manchester United are expected to appoint Ruben Amorim. Looks like he will be in charge after the international break at this moment. Here is Fernandes out towards Garnacho on the attack again, getting to the edge of the penalty area, weaving one way then the other, then goes on the outside, tackled by Okoli, pushes the ball out into the fullback position, but it's Bruno Fernandes who wins it back for Manchester United in those red shirts. A swirling ball by Ugarte is just off radar and goes behind and away for a goal kick away to our left hand side. Leicester haven't won here very often. Their last away win in 2021 was given to them by Charles Sionchu. It's their only win in the last 15 visits. They haven't beaten Manchester United in the League Cup since a 2-0 win at home in the 4th round in the year that both the Prince of Wales and the Duke of York got divorced. Dolly the sheep was born. Glenn Hoddle became the England boss. And the year of the Arndale Centre bombing here in Manchester. The year?
No idea.
Glenn Hoddle being the England boss? I thought you would have got it at Dolly the sheep, to be fair. November 1996. Oh, you went 97. No, Izzy went 97. So close. Steve Claridge and Emil Heskey scored the goals at Filbert Street that day. Here is Dalot down the right. as Manchester United look for goal number 6 on the evening. It goes to Casemiro, floats it out towards the near side, chested down by Garnacho. Garnacho coming forward. Mazraoui on the left-hand side, waiting for a pass from Fernandes, picks it up in the wing position. Floated in by Fernandes towards the far post. Goalkeeper thought about coming, then decided he couldn't. Mazraoui keeps it alive. An overhead kick. Oh, that would have been special from Ahmad. He got up really high. Superbly executed an overhead kick which was heading to the far corner, and he puts his hands across his face because he knows it was close.
Incredible technique. That's a proper bicycle kick. That's absolutely superb. It sits up nicely. It comes off the chest, and then he does everything right. He's so unlucky not to score with that. The technique, the strike, everything was almost perfect.
Oh, that would have been a golden moment, wouldn't it? Absolutely terrific from Amad Diallo, who I think the Manchester United supporters have been wanting to see more of. Well, they're seeing more of Ayew here, who's won the ball inside the penalty area. He's got it onto his left foot, back onto his right. Casemiro is there again. Had a good game tonight, Casemiro, actually. He's been in the right place defensively on a couple of key occasions, and he's scored 2 goals for Manchester United.
And that's why he's there. You know, you cannot buy experience, and he has more than anybody else.
Soumaré hits the bar from the edge of the penalty area with a right-footed shot which had Altay beaten all ends up.
I think he might have just got a fingertip on it, Sam.
Well, what an effort it was from Boubakary Soumaré. Picks it up right on the angle of the D, smashes it towards the far corner.
Is that the fastest slow motion replay you've ever seen? It's unbelievable. It's like they speeded it up. I think he might have just got a fingertip on that.
Well, even if he did, it was only the width of the crossbar that stopped Leicester from getting a 3rd goal. Here come Manchester United again. Dello has sent it centrally to Casemiro. A lovely floated ball out towards the left, and Garnacho. He attacks the penalty area from the left-hand side. Leicester are backpedaling here. It's Fernandes now who's got it. Chips it over the top. Amad Diallo takes it down inside the area. He tries to take it to the byline. Pulls it across the face of goal. Pops off the goalkeeper. Comes towards Garnacho. Didn't reach him. Mazraoui into Fernandes. They're putting the pressure on here. Garnacho down the left into the penalty area. He's got 3 to aim at. He skips in on his right foot. Gets it back to the edge of the box. Smacked by Fernandes, and he hit it straight at Mazraoui, and it's cleared away by Leicester.
Mazraoui's had a little chuckle towards himself, you know, tried to get out of the way, had absolutely no chance. But at the other end, again, whether it was a save or not, another opportunity for Leicester. Could have easily been 5-3.
Well, it's been entertaining, Danny, hasn't it?
But you know, when you talked about why not give Ruud van Nistelrooy, if you've watched the game, okay, you can understand it. It's not as maybe good
coming again. Dallo over the top into the penalty area. He's got Xerxes in the centre. Tries to lift it into the box, and I think the offside flag went up anyway. And it's going to be a free kick this time. The assistant on the far side was pretty keen and handy with that flag.
They gave this job to an interim manager before, and it didn't quite work out. There was no real plan. They've got a plan. You've got to give them credit for that. They've gone, right, we've identified our manager. You know, they've not just spoken to him this week. That's clearly been in the pipeline for a while. They've identified him as the man they want to put in charge. Don't deviate from that plan. Doesn't matter now if Ruud van Nistelrooy goes and wins the next 4 games. You do not deviate from that plan, because that is what you think is the right thing to do.
Yannick Vestergaard coming back from a long-term injury is about to come on for Leicester City.
I think it was a save, Sam. Just seen a replay of that. Still might not have crept in all honesty. It was the slightest of touches from the goalkeeper.
Well, he'll get credit for it, Altay. Well, what an effort it was from Soumaré from the edge of the box. Mazraoui. Into Dallo. Dallo back to De Ligt, and then forward by Casemiro. Collected by Ugarte, then Fernandes, then Garnacho.
See, if you put legs in and around Casemiro, he's still got a role to play, without a shadow of a doubt, because he could just sit in that role, a bit like Jorginho does sometimes at Arsenal. You know, he doesn't need to run all over the place. but you've got to put legs around him for somebody else to do that work for him, because clearly he's not as young as he used to be, doesn't have that athleticism, but the experience that he's got, putting himself in the right position.
Fernandes into Garnacho. Garnacho is pushed to the floor by James Justin. He's got away with that, James Justin. Garte won't allow Ayew to get away with that. Xerxes and Amad Diallo winning the ball back, turning, firing it into Fernandes, edge of the area, plays it left. Diallo's got it again, tries to pull it in towards the near corner. He hits the side netting. I thought there was no chance he could even test the goalkeeper from that sort of range, such was the tightness of the angle, but he dragged the ball back towards the near post and it went smacking into the side netting. We've got quite a few changes in the offing here. We've got 5 for Leicester. Vestergaard, Buonanotte, Odsonne Edouard, Alves, all coming on, and Mabadidi, I think.
Come on, who's coming off then? Quick, Sam.
Akoli.
I'm teasing.
El Khanous. I'm going to guess that if Edouard's coming off, then Ayew will come off too. Deckled over Reed.
I thought James Justin was was slumping towards the touchline. Nope, he's changed his mind and gone back.
Evans and Højlund coming on for United. So we've got El Khanous and Akoli and Diva off.
It's a sign from Steve Cooper that the game's over, isn't it? That's basically what he's saying now. He goes, look, I accept that. I'm just going to give players last 20 minutes some minutes, rest a few, give some minutes and just rotate a little bit.
McAteer is off as well, and Ayew too. So I think I've got my 5 now. Deckled over Reed, Ayew, Khanous, Akoli and McAteer. They're all off. And I've given you the ones that have come on.
I can't believe the coaches aren't down there shouting to those players, you're coming off. You know, they've all waited till their number's gone up on the board.
Will Alves, who made his Leicester debut in January 2023 in the FA Cup win over Watford, has waited quite a long time to come back into the team. De Ligt is coming off, and he's going to be replaced by Johnny Evans. And I imagine that Joshua Zirkzee is going to be replaced by Højlund. That's my guess. It's Brighton 2, Liverpool 3.
No, it's Garnacho that's coming off.
Is it? Garnacho coming off. Tariq Lamptey scored in the 90th minute. They're in injury time, and there's still a chance for Brighton, who like a late comeback. Game not over yet. That's over on Talksport 2 as we speak. So
I think Xerxes just as surprised as anybody.
That means that Fernandes will go to the left, Diallo will play on the right, Xerxes will play as the 10, and Højlund through the centre. Big game on Sunday. Manchester United will take on Chelsea. The Sunday session comes from here with Adrian Durham this week. They got Leicester in the league after that, before an away game with Ipswich after the international break. Everton at home and then Arsenal away. The next 2 Europa League fixtures, PAOK at home and Bodo Glimt at home. 2 fixtures they should be targeting to win. That would put them in a reasonable position. They're in a reasonable position here. They lead by 5 goals to 2.
It's going to be a much tougher test, though, isn't it, against Chelsea?
Casemiro looking for Fernandes, almost. A lovely ball over the top, which almost had the range on it to reach Fernandes. He kept it alive, and Mazraoui has brought it back down the left side. Casemiro in towards Højlund, uses his body well to hold off Vestergaard, who's been coming back from injury. Out to the right it goes. Mavadidi trying to get back at Amad. Casemiro onto Dallo, into Amad, who's inside the penalty area, turns away from Samare, left-footed shot, saved down low by Danny Ward in front of the Stretford end. He's had an impact since coming on, Amad Diallo, that is for sure.
Well, this is the difference between him and Xerxes. He's been on, 10 minutes? But he's had 4 or 5 runs, he's tried an overhead kick, he's run around, he's looked sharp, he's looked bright. He's done more in 10 minutes than Xerxes done in 75.
5-2 to Manchester United with 15 to play on Talksport 2. More action for you over the weekend. Newcastle Arsenal is live on Talksport on Saturday morning, and we'll be with you from 11 o'clock on Talksport. Rashmin Chowdhury and I up at St James's Park. Sunday session comes live from here as Chelsea are the visitors. Monday night football, Fulham against Brentford. Sporting taking on Manchester City on Tuesday night. By then, maybe Pep will be out of the League Cup. We'll see. Here is Fernandes down the left-hand side, trying to get into the wing position. Produces a deep cross. Amad Diallo is at the far post. It's over his head, and he's scurrying out to the far side to try and keep it alive. He does well enough to do that, and it goes back towards halfway. But United are still in possession. Is there another goal in this for them? Mazraoui out to Fernandes. Fernandes back to Mazraoui again. Leicester with everyone behind the ball now, just trying to hold off further damage that possibly United might inflict. The big scoreboard at Old Trafford, it's not the biggest by the way, it's just like a strip of LED lights at either end, is still going around doing the substitutions because 7 at one time almost blew its processor, although I think it's probably got a chip from 1994 still in there.
I think your Christmas lights are bigger than that, aren't they?
My Halloween lights are bigger than that. Here is Dallo over on the far side, juggling with the ball. Yeah, it's a big old Halloween vibe in my town. You know, we embrace it. Tomorrow night, I'll be out on the streets of Didsbury, all the kids doing the trick or treating.
I might come round and scare you then.
Well, there's special little avenues in Didsbury where they really go to town on it, and they dress up like proper characters from. Can we just
clip that up? Special little avenues that Sam likes to dress up and go and visit on an evening.
It's for trick or treating.
Oh, sorry.
It's all done in the right spirit, Danny. Here's Højlund coming forward, being chased by Buonanotte. Buonanotte does well, robs the ball, turns it over, and now they come forward at pace. Over on the left-hand side, Will Alves feeds the ball into the path of Steffi Mavridis, who cuts in towards the edge of the penalty area. Will Alves on the turn, a right-footed shot, and it's an easy save. From the edge of the penalty area, straight down the throat of Altay, who drops to his knees and will clear away. 77 gone.
I think the game's died a little bit now. Nothing's really going to happen in this last probably 15 minutes with a little bit of injury time. I think, both teams have accepted that Manchester United are going to win this.
Well, they're into injury time at the Amex Stadium, where Brighton is still trying to find an equaliser. It's 3-2 in the 96th minute. That's just finished, in fact, over on Talksport, and Liverpool just about survived a late scare. They're through to the quarter-finals. Crystal Palace look like they're going to join them. There's 10 minutes left in their game away at Villa. They lead by 2-1. Newcastle 2-0 up against Chelsea, who look like they're going out of the League Cup under Enzo Maresca. And despite playing a relatively strong team tonight, actually, Chelsea. Not the lightest of selections. They did have a £100 million midfielder in the selection.
It's a very strong team. I've just pulled it up now. Felix is in there, Dewsbury Hall, Mudryk's in there, Cucurella, Badashile,
Enzo Fernandez.
Yeah, and Kunku's playing as well. That could be a Premier League side quite easily.
Preston being beaten by Arsenal, as you'd expect, 3-0. And Tottenham 2, Manchester City 1. The conclusion of which, by the way, is going to be on Talksport after that game is finished on Talksport Brighton-Liverpool. And that has now finished, so it won't be long before they hand over. In fact, Adrian, I can see him doing that link to that game as we speak. It's a double shifting tonight. I don't know if you've noticed. Talksport and Talksport 2 wanted to do it all.
And he's the GOAT, isn't he?
Oh, well, he couldn't handle it. He didn't really break a sweat either, which was quite frustrating for those of us who have to toil at this game. Here is Alves, right side. Tries to push the ball into the centre, looking for Odsonne Edouard. Justin's got another problem. He's on the floor, but players continuing. Samare into Skip. Leicester looking to try and come forward. I mean, if they were to score now, the last 10 minutes might be quite interesting.
It would be. But
they're playing at a snail's pace and they're pushing the ball around in midfield.
Since the first 10 minutes of the second half, I thought Leicester were good. They came out. James Justin had a lot of opportunities down this right-hand side to get a good final ball in. Didn't necessarily pick the right option, or his final ball was poor, and that really sort of denied them too many opportunities. And since then, it's been a fairly even game, I guess. But again, Leicester, they shot themselves in the foot, didn't they?
Here is Mazraoui, on to Zirkzee, back to Fernandes on the halfway line. Still, Ruud van Nistelrooy stalks the touchline. I mean, the Europa League's going to be a target for Manchester United, but so should the League Cup. The winners tonight just 3 games away from Wembley.
Well, they can't win the Premier League. They're not going to get Champions League. So, what are they going to play for? They've got a couple of cup competitions. That's what they have to go for this season.
Ruud van Nistelrooy knows how important this trophy can be. He won the competition in 2006. And right now, any trophy is important to this club. Here's Xerxes, out to Fernandez. They're heading to the quarter-finals. Fernandez tries to cut in on his right foot, jinks away from one and up there. It's collected by Fernandez again, whose right-footed shot is blocked by Skip, who throws himself in front of the effort, and it breaks to Mazraoui, who gives it to Amad Diallo. That right side clogged up with Dallo and Diallo. And it goes all the way back to Altay as Manchester United take control and stay composed, keep hold of the ball and don't waste passes. Here's Højlund taking it from Dallo, and in the right channel he goes, swishes it out to the left where there's a bit of room for Fernandez. Bruno Fernandes plays a reverse ball into Joshua Zirkzee, who runs towards the edge of the penalty area on the left, then tries to twist away from Cody, does well, plays it into the box, hits Justin, goes behind out for a corner.
A little bit of bright movement from Zirkzee, the best we've seen all night really. It's just taken him 80 minutes to get going.
What have you made of Leicester overall tonight? Because their fans will be a little bit disappointed, I think, with some of the defending they've seen. 9 changes, right thing to do?
Defending hasn't been great. Second goal killed them, I think, when they thought it was offside. Managed to get themselves back into it and then conceded another one. They've done okay. I don't think they deserve to be losing 5-2. You know, if you'd have said 2-1 on the whole sort
Here's
of pace
the corner
of play.
Towards the near post, flick on by Dallo is out as far as Ugarte, goes back in by Mazraoui, flicked away by Vestergaard, picked up by Odsonne Edouard, who tries to run it clear, gives it to Alves, but it's intercepted by Ugarte, who's had a good game. Down the left to Dallo again, tries to twist away from Justin. He's in the penalty area. Ugarte now to elevate the ball forward. Does he? No. Mazraoui instead is his target. He's played it square onto Johnny Evans, who's encouraged to shoot from 35 yards, but he's no Casemiro. Hands off the ball to the Brazilian, who gives it into Fernandez, who gets in round the back and then hooks the ball towards goal, but it's over the top of the crossbar. Lovely ball by the Brazilian Casemiro, dripped over the top of the Leicester defence, and he was facing away from goal, then twisted and volleyed it towards the goal, hoping that he was going to get his hat-trick, Bruno Fernandes, and he was so close to it.
Yeah, very, very difficult though, as it's dropping over that shoulder. Very few players can execute that. I think we've seen Cristiano Ronaldo do it on a few occasions, even Lionel Messi, but not many more than that, as it comes over that shoulder, then having to go across it. Very, very difficult skill. But 2-1, maybe 3-1 at a push. Manchester United probably would have been a fair reflection of the actual game.
Well, a lot of those supporters will enjoy the fact that they've seen 7 goals tonight, especially 5 of them. Old Trafford was full. And still, there's quite a few people still inside the stadium, despite the fact there's only 8 minutes to go and the game probably is over. Manchester United got some big games to play upcoming. Leicester too have got some big matches in the offing.
I would say, Sam, if Manchester United play like this against Chelsea at the weekend, they'll probably get beat.
Depends what Chelsea team turn
well
up. Here is Mavadidi skipping past 2 challenges and then sending the ball towards the far corner, and Altay gets down to fingertip it round the post, and it's out for a corner. Leicester have Ipswich away at the weekend to the promoted teams meeting. Manchester United, Leicester is their following game the following Sunday, before they welcome Chelsea, go to Brentford, welcome West Ham and invite Brighton to the King Power Stadium, and that's midway through December. Here's the corner far side, taken by Mavadidi. It's aimed towards Will Alves, but interrupted by Amad Diallo, and he backheels it into the path of Casemiro rather confidently, and then up it goes to Højlund. Doesn't hold it up. Samare forward. Mavadidi comes towards the edge of the area, opens his body up to try a strike. It cannons off 2 defenders, Casemiro, then Lindelof, and then breaks for United to try and counter-attack. Fernandes onto Højlund. He runs into space inside the Leicester half. On the right-hand side, he's got Manchester United's winger Amad Diallo, who's offside, which is a criminal offence, actually. Bearing in mind he was involved in the attack from a long way out. Going to make a change here. Ethan Wheatley is about to come on. I imagine that is for Joshua Zirkzee, who is still yet to add to his goal that he scored on the opening night of the Premier League campaign. Joshua Zirkzee. But he's going to be replaced by the 250th Academy graduate to play for the Manchester United first team, Ethan Wheatley. 18 years of age, impressive in the academy. He is a goal threat, and he's on for Manchester United for the last 7 minutes of the game.
Easy one to Ruud van Nistelrooy, that, isn't it? You know, 3 goals ahead, 5 minutes to go. Throw a young player on. Again, makes everybody look good, really.
Well, Crystal Palace looking good for a place in the quarter-finals. They lead Aston Villa by 2-1. Newcastle 2-0 up in the last minute against Chelsea. Arsenal, they're through. Tottenham and Manchester City involved in a tight game. That's on Talksport as we speak.
Well, Angel says he wins something his second season.
We'll find out, maybe, won't we, this year? Here is Odsonne-Edouard, edge of the penalty area for Leicester City. Looking for a third goal on the night. Samare out to the far side. Collected by Mavadidi. Gets it back into the penalty area he goes. Out wide again to Samare. He hesitates, gives it to Mavadidi. Manchester United players camped on the edge of the penalty areas. The ball goes round the corner into the box. It comes back to Mavadidi, who rides one challenge, not a second, and Evans takes charge of it. Gives it back. Luke Thomas is going to strike. He scored here before. He cracks it goalwards. It's stopped. And into the arms of Altay. A little bit of late Leicester pressure as we approach the 86th minute of the game at a misty, murky Old Trafford. And that's the signal for 1 or 2 to start escaping down the gangways, knowing full well that the game is over and that Manchester United will join Liverpool, will join Newcastle and Arsenal in the quarter-finals of the Carabao Cup. Brentford, who went through last night. Southampton, who had a bit of a scare against Stoke but still managed to get over the line. Here is Ugarte, over the top for Mazraoui, who gets in behind Buonanotte, produces a cross towards the far post. Luke Thomas has to intervene before it reaches Amad Diallo, and it's out for a corner in front of the Stretford end.
When's the draw, Sam? Thursday, is it, perhaps?
No, it draws tonight after the conclusion of the Tottenham Hotspur Manchester City game. So we will know soon enough who the fixtures are in the next round of the competition. And we are going to have some big hitters, aren't we, in the next round of the competition. I think all of the lower league teams are out now, aren't they? Here is Amad Diallo into Lindelof, back towards Ugarte, whose strike is blocked by Justin. Repels out to the far side, where it's collected by Bruno Fernandes, and then he is sent back down the right by Casemiro. Just overcooked the pass, too much on it, and it goes all the way out of play and away for a goal kick away to our left-hand side. 73,400 here tonight. It is a rickety old joint now, and every now and again when the rain starts to come too heavily, there's a new water feature which has emerged in recent years. The joinery which Manchester United haven't managed to upkeep gets exposed, but they are going to either rejig this whole place or they're going to rebuild the whole thing. And they're yet to decide exactly how they're going to do it. And it's certainly already going through the official channels in order to get planning permission, so that Sir Jim Ratcliffe's vision of a new Trafford will retain many of the features of Old Trafford, but yet have a very modern twist.
I think you have to look at what Liverpool have done at Anfield, the way they've expanded that and built that. We were there the other week, and suddenly now the Kop is now the smallest stand there, you know, and they've sort of done that seamlessly, haven't they? Or you go sort of the Tottenham route, keep it on the same site and sort of rebuild around it and half of it while you're still using this stadium.
Yep, I mean, it's got to be the best, doesn't it? That's what Manchester United demand, and it can only be the best, I think, if they do end up rebuilding the whole thing. It's going to take ages to do it piecemeal, because all of this, unlike Anfield, is connected. The whole thing is connected. There isn't one part of the stadium that isn't linked to the other, and that makes it more difficult, I think. Free kick to Leicester over on the far side. Late on in the game, it's a deep one towards the far post. Vestergaard with a header back across the face of goal, but straight out of play. And away for a goal kick away to our right-hand side. Ruud van Nistelrooy was part of a refreshed coaching staff this summer. It includes 2 other Dutchmen and a Swede. Andreas Gorgsen, who is the first team coach responsible for set pieces, but not just set pieces. 30% of all goals come from that measure. They know that there is still work to do. We understand that there will be appointments from within the coaching staff of Sporting Lisbon that will join with Ruben Amorim. Carlos Fernandez, Adilio Candido and Jorge Vital, sports scientist Paulo Barrera and Emmanuel Ferrer, all set to join Manchester United along with Ruben Amorim. And that might mean a clear out of the current staff, of which Ruud van Nistelrooy is leading tonight. And I wonder how many games he's going to get. Reports earlier suggested it might be as many as 4. And if they all go as well as this, then he'll be quite happy with his lot. It's only Manchester United's 5th win in 15 games. 2 minutes of added time at the end of the 90. Manchester United in control now. 3-goal cushion over Leicester. 5-2 the score. Big puffy coats and woolly hats starting to rise from their seats, and a load of supporters trickling down the exits now as Manchester United try to push the ball forward. Good performances tonight. Where would you start to look if you're a Manchester United manager?
Casemiro's played well, that holding role. I think he's done very, very well in that area. Scored a fantastic goal. Obviously scored the second one as well. Did well to follow up his own header off both posts. Apart from that, I'm looking round and I'm thinking, nobody. Bruno Fernandes has been okay.
Casemiro again from the edge of the area over the top of the crossbar. Agate played well. I thought him and Casemiro, that partnership has functioned well tonight.
Diallo's looked good when he's come on.
Garnacho's had a bit of a
Garnacho was good. Obviously he's gone off. I was looking around the pitch too. It's really odd because it's a 5-2 win, but nobody's been outstanding.
I think it's been a good, solid Manchester United performance with a couple of holes in it, and the difference is Manchester United.
It's been an okay performance. They've been better than Leicester, and they've got a bit of luck.
They've definitely got a bit of luck.
That's what I would say.
The free kick, the offside.
Yeah, it's not a bad performance.
But they've taken those chances, and they've had missed chances like that before, Danny. I mean, watching them on Sunday, they missed so many chances. It was frightening. But tonight, they have been converting those chances. They aren't in rude health, otherwise he wouldn't be in charge. But Van Nistelrooy's one night as boss might turn into a few more. Certainly there might be a few that call for that after a 5-2 victory over Leicester City. It wasn't as thrilling as all guns blazing as maybe it sounds, but Manchester United have scored 5 goals, and that is a rarity, especially at the moment where converting chances has been a major problem for them. It's a sizable win, a statement win. 2 goals for Fernandes, 2 for Casemiro, and 1 from Alejandro Garnacho as well. Look, Ruben Amorim will take charge, either this week, next, or the week after, but he will inherit a team that, for all their faults, are League Cup quarter-finalists, thanks to this rude gesture. Manchester United 5, Leicester City 2.
Sam, thanks very much. As the players all shake hands, fans, some of them have already made their way out with it. A foregone conclusion early on in the second half. Man United were going through, and they have gone through. Palace are through. They've won 2-1 at Aston Villa. Newcastle have beaten Chelsea 2-0. They're through. Arsenal, easy for them. They won 3-0 at Preston. And live on Talksport earlier, Liverpool 3-2 winners at Brighton and Hove Albion. But here, I think one thing from the summary you two just made of the game there, Danny Mills, one thing missing was I thought Manchester United had control of the second half. When we thought at half-time this could be anything, next goal, Leicester get it could end up 6-6 or whatever, Man United actually came out and pretty much controlled the second half. Any thoughts of Leicester actually coming back and getting on level terms or even winning the game? They just weren't there, were they?
First 5-10 minutes second half, Leicester did okay, but once United saw that little bit of a storm out, then it was pretty comfortable after that. I don't remember really. I think they hit the bar late on, didn't they? The keeper tips it onto the bar. But apart from that, Leicester weren't really in it. I think they had, being 4-2 down, they had to score in the first 5 minutes of that second half to give themselves belief, to give themselves a chance. And obviously once it got to 5, that was it. Done and dusted. You could physically see the Leicester players give up. really, at that stage. But that's how I summed it up. It was a decent performance. It was okay. They were better than Leicester. It wasn't a great performance. It certainly wasn't a 5-goal performance in my view. And I think if they play exactly the same standard against Chelsea probably beat them. They're going to have to raise their game for that.
Yeah, and listen, there was some good fortune in there as well, and sometimes you need that. But there was some good fortune in there from Manchester United. However, I think that they can get some confidence from it. They know a new manager is coming in, these players. So to score 5 and he'll look at the performance and realise it wasn't perfect.
And also that the pressure was on them, mate. The pressure was on them tonight because new manager coming in, they're expected to beat Leicester. And they're expected to beat Leicester comfortably. And they have done with a little bit of fortune and a little bit of luck this evening. The Chelsea game, you're looking at that and you probably still think, well, Chelsea will come here as favourites, I'd expect. You know, in terms of what the bookmakers make of it, the form that both teams are in at the moment, Chelsea will come here and expect to win the game. And on the league form and everything else, you probably, you know, that'll be the way. So it'll be a different type of attitude that the players come out. They might be able to play with a little bit more freedom in that. Because tonight, it's almost like they were scared to play at times. They were scared to have a go. Once they got the sort of second, third goal, there was a little bit more from Garnacho. I thought Rashford was also non-existent this evening. You're thinking, you know, you've got an opportunity. You're 3-0 up, or you've got 3 goals. Go and run at people. Go and do something different. You know, use a bit of Xerxes. Very, very similar. A lot of players, I think, for Manchester United, played it safe. Played the simple pass. Played the safe pass all the time. Never really wanted to take a chance. It wasn't until Casemiro obviously got it out of his feet and struck an absolute world into the top corner that the game sort of started. Up until that point, Manchester United were very subdued. Leicester were subdued. Nothing really happened at that point. So I think, you know,
sometimes it's good to be lucky, though, isn't it? You know, sometimes it's good to
better to be lucky than good.
To get a win under your belt when you've had a malaise around the club. Manchester United had won 4 of 14 before tonight. That's 5 out of 15 now this season. They needed to put some sort of positivity around this place. Yeah, do you know what? They did get lucky. They scored a worldie. They scored an offside goal, which was absolutely crucial at the time, by the way. A deflected free kick. They capitalised on some poor defending from Leicester when Casemiro's header hit both posts, came out, and he was still there to tap it in because Leicester didn't bother reacting. And an awful back pass. So, look, it wasn't a perfect night, but it was
Leicester won 2-0, really.
It was a good night for Manchester United, and I think Ruud van Nistelrooy will draw the positives from it.
I'm joking.
On Sunday, they couldn't hit the cow's backside with a banjo. Today, everything they've touched has turned to gold. It's been a stark contrast, but look, they needed it, and there'll be a lot of fans going home happy tonight.
We've heard managers come out of that, haven't they? You know, well, if that goal didn't count, this goal didn't count, we would have won 2-0.
Well, Eric Ten Hag said if Bruno Fernandes wasn't sent off against Tottenham, you know, he doesn't. Well, because of that, he doesn't count that result. That doesn't even matter.
Well, what matters is that Manchester United are through. They may have to wait that little bit longer for Ruben Amorim to take charge, but they are through. And actually, they're beating the Premier League side, and they put 5 goals past them. Whether they were lucky or not, that's up for debate. Danny Mills, thank you very much. Sam Matface, thank you very much. Reaction to come from this on a later sports bar over on Talksport.